Yes, big up, good people. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective once more. Today we have a very kind of unique show. We will look at the remaining games, given what we're going through. We'll look at them one by one, analyze the opposition, and see which one of those games we're capable of winning. It sounds like it's going to be difficult to get even a single win. If we get more than uh, three wins, then I'll be shocked. Given the way we're playing, even when we play well, we were not able to put the ball in the back of the net. But more importantly, people, I hope you're all doing well. Thank you once more again. Welcome back to Just Perspective. Welcome back to another Blue Morning Show. I know it's noon for a lot of people. For me, it's still a 4:08 a.m. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, welcome back to A Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another Blue Morning Show. Today, we will be looking at the remaining games. I think we have about seven games remaining. Let me see to be sure here. We've played, I supposed to be 38 games, and we've played how many? We played 31, so we have about seven games left. And out of those seven games, we still have Arsenal to play, we still have Man City to play, we still have Manchester United to play. We were supposed to play Manchester United, I think, this coming weekend, but the game was postponed. Um, yeah, let's get into it. Let's see what we have here. We're not just going to talk about those things. If you see any news that you'd like us to talk about, we can start with that, and then later on, as the show progresses, get into looking at those games one by one and trying to find out which one of them we can actually win. I'll start again by before I say hello to anybody else. I usually like to say hello to my brother, Liam Lane. If you're watching, I hope you're getting better. Yeah, RRP Chelsea Football Club says Danny Music, a club. Even Rhys James is leaving us for Real Madrid. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I know I presented the story via a short video, but I think at this point it's just a rumor. That's how I see it. But more importantly, Danny Music, a big up to you and thank you for always finding the time to join in the show. Let's see. Yeah, the one thing I can agree with Frank Lampard's comments. Let's see, which says the reality. Okay, I'm just going to open those so we'll look at them and start with them. Then gradually go into looking at the games we have left, where we're at the table, and how many games we're able to win. So we're going to start with the news. This says big up. That was a shambles last night. We are in a lot of trouble. I saw these in the 80s. We will not get back in the UEFA Champions League for years with the owners we have. I hope that's not the case. I think we have a very good squad. With a change of manager, if you bring in a very capable manager, I'll be able to get into the Champions League as soon as possible, as soon as next year, actually. But the risk was to hire Frank Lampard when Graham Potter was fired. If indeed, if in fact, Luis Enrique asked for the job, just asking them wanting to start with facing Real Madrid, and they refused to do that. Which means I don't know if they understand what's called a new manager bounce, but I wasn't sure even the new manager bounce was going to work under Frank Lampard. I asked the question, he just dragged Everton into the relegation zone and got the job at Chelsea Football Club for the Champions League quarterfinals. Again, still was, and we were still in the Champions League. The first leg hasn't been played with weeks before the Champions League. I didn't know why they didn't give it to Luis Enrique. That is, if that's the truth, because there's no way to tell if that really transpired. Yep. Let's see. Morning. Up to you and the Undertaker CFC. A big up to you. Big up to Hushford. Morning. Up to Charles. Yep. Up to Charles. No matter what we're going through, the Chelsea is the entity we support. I know things aren't going so well, but I can assure you. Remember, I told you this: the future is bright. I'm not joking when I say that. I really do mean that. The future is bright, like Frank Lampard himself says. The reality is this club is going to be back. It will take work and maybe a bit of process. That's the truth. Maybe things can get worse from here on, but it depends on what they do. If they hire the right person, we could start winning immediately, and people start fearing us again. But if they start, let me say what I said yesterday. I think the beautiful game did say something to that effect also. If we should focus on stabilizing the ship, put aside the long-term project at this point, which I think the owners should have done at first. And I think the reason it was easier for them to fire Thomas Tuchel was that they'd already made up their mind saying Thomas Tuchel wasn't the man for a long time and decided to fire him, finding one excuse or the other, fire him immediately. Uh, they should have. I think what they should have done was that just leave him at least at the end of the season. Make sure we're in a very good place before they let him go. But they were in a hurry to get into the long-term project. It wasn't planned so well. That's why we'll find ourselves where we are today. I get it. Some people will bring up the argument it was the government. Yeah, I get it. The government, what happened with the government, but we had the opportunity to still continue being successful. Yeah, we may have struggled a bit because we lost one, two, three, let me say three established players from the club. It shouldn't have been this bad, but the mistake was sacking the man this like that. But we move on from that. What else do we have here? I see. Good morning, Coach King Moore. Nice to see you. King Moore, I haven't seen you in a while. Please do let me know that you're doing well. Always nice to see you. Big up Kachila says Chelsea all the way. Big up to you too. What else do we have here? Even Thiago Silva is blaming the owners. I mean, at this point, like I said yesterday, I'm going to stop. I won't even be questioning Frank Lampard. He's there. He's there. What I'm going to be saying from now on is it's the owner's fault. First, they fired Thomas Tuchel, and they had the opportunity to get in an established manager. They could have immediately stabilized. The players will respect and make the most of the squad. Of you can say we have one of the most talented squads in the Premier League, no matter how you argue that. And they wanted to straight ahead, go into the long-term project. It was a risk, and yeah, it's faltering right now. If that makes sense to you, let's see what else we have here. Abdul Rahman, nice to see you. It's been a while. Please do let me know that you're doing well. He says, "Good morning, Coach. It is wise to hire managers to observe players to hold onto and the rest of Deadwood to get rid of undercover. Let Frank remain in the spot for the rest of the season. Yeah, he remains. Nobody's calling for him to be fired. It wouldn't make any sort of sense to be fired. But here's where I am concerned. If Frank's priority is to, get his coaching career back on track, or if you like to phrase it this way, if Frank's priority is to, you could say, save his coaching career, he will not do what we all would want him to do, like give the younger players a chance, give the younger players the opportunity to be ready for next season. And we still have 7 games, and that should be enough. That should be good enough number of games to give the younger players the confidence to going into next season. But unfortunately, I'm sensing that Frank's priority will most likely be to put his career back on track. Yeah, so he wouldn't risk starting younger players too much because losing 4 games in a row, he would want to win at least the remaining games. If you get my argument, 3-6-1 to defend when you are 2 goals down from the first leg. That's the mentality for you. The lineup, I didn't like the selection in the first place. It works like I watched it again. Yes, we controlled the game in the first half. It was beautiful to watch and all that, but no end product. And I think you could argue the structure in the first place set it up to be like that, if that makes sense. Every low will have a high. Stay positive, guys. I agree with you. I think, but this one was a self-inflicted. If you get what I mean, it was a self-inflicted. It shouldn't happen because we have one of the best squads in the Premier League and should be doing better. We should have done better than we did under Graham Potter, and we should be doing better than we did under Frank Lampard. I again, as much as I have questions with regards to him being the interim manager, it's too late now because we don't have the Champions League anymore. We're not going to be playing in the Champions League. The only uh, big competition, you could say that we'll be playing would be the Club World Cup, given that it has been expanded. I think the 2024 version of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But thank you for that, Matt. Always nice to see you. Omar Dunk says, "Pride is a downfall. These owners used to, yeah, it's a downfall. These owners used to destroy the club we love. But pride goeth before a fall. Leave the management to the personnel that is appointed to lead the team." I think that's an excellent comment here. The only way Lampard gets the Chelsea job if Chelsea gets relegated. Yeah, yeah, I don't think I've heard also there's no clause that it was clear from the day they hired him that he isn't there to stay. It's there just to be the caretaker manager until the end of the season, which to me, it's a risk. If you were in a hurry to hire Potter, support him the way you did, hiring Luis Enrique or Nagelsmann is 10 times much less a risk because Graham Potter clearly the unknown, if that makes sense. So, Kachila, how much time do you think the new owners will need to evaluate the squad then a preseason before the start of the season if Lampard will stay until the end of the season? Evaluate the squad. I think we just need to sign a defensive midfielder and also a striker. And the question is, what sort of striker should we be looking at? That's where it all depends on the manager we hire. If it is Luis Enrique, most likely he prefers a hybrid striker in the sense, I'm not saying getting like a player who, let's say, like the sort of strikers we have now. I'm saying like getting a striker that's capable of dropping deep, participating in the play when we don't see the opportunity, if that makes sense. Let me see what else we have here. But good question. I'm not sure how much time they need, but like I said, we don't need too many players actually. Even if we sell as many players, we know that we will be selling. We don't need too many players. Let's see what else we have here. Nagelsmann is our next manager. If it was Enrique, he would have given the job for the rest of the season to assess his squad and maybe progress in the Champions League. Nagelsmann cannot be signed until summer. That is the one decision that I just do not understand. I think that's where that begs the question. Honestly, even though I wanted Potter to go, but I'm still asking the question: why fire him if they're not willing to bring in a permanent manager immediately? We had the opportunity to do well in the Champions League, at least beat Real Madrid because how well we played in the first half showed we're capable of beating them. It's just that I think tactically, I think we were poor. We weren't set up to at least try hit the goalpost like we usually do, if that makes sense. But I get it. Yeah. Now I think that makes me understand the question from Chelsea all the way. Time to assess the squad. So that's why I would have liked the new manager to come in this season, use it to try out things with the squad since there's nothing to lose. And then at the end of the season, have a good understanding of what the team needs with regards to how they like to approach the game, if that makes sense. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. Chelsea all the way. The beautiful game. I haven't said hello to you, brother. I appreciate you always finding the time to join the team. I get your argument. I don't know what to believe now. The rumors are that the club, they do not have preference over Enrique or preference over Enrique or Nagelsmann. But I think it's easy to believe that it will most likely be Nagelsmann, given that Christopher Vivell, who's worked with Julian Nagelsmann before, is the club's technical director, and other people that have been mentioned that have worked with him, plus Nkunku coming in. So maybe it's easy really it's easy really to start saying, you know what, we're done. We're done here. No need to waste time. It is Nagelsmann, but you never know. Let's see what happens. If it's the same, I think he'd be better than the past two managers, the Graham Potter and Frank Lampard. If it's Enrique, I'll take it. One manager I don't want us to risk going for is what's his name, the one that's coached River Plate. I know Tiki Taka and all that. I think his story will not be different with that of is it Tata Martino? Was it who didn't have a European experience but was hired by Barcelona, he didn't really do well. I don't want to see a scenario as such if we hire what's his name. I think Marcelo Gallardo, I get it. I think it will be more of an experimental hiring. It won't differ that much from that of it will not be different from that of what's his name, the hiring of Graham Potter. Let's move on from that one. Thank you, the Beautiful Game. Always nice to have you in the chat, providing such insight. Let's see what else we have here. We have Fami Abdurrahman saying the owners should not be at the dressing room. They should come at the beginning of the season and at the end, or maybe join them in the dressing room if they win something and celebrate with them, or go to the training ground and talk with them, which I believe that's what Roman Abramovich does. And I think was it on Sky Sports, one of the pundits asked, what's his name, the former Arsenal manager, as much as I hate to mention his name, because he's our enemy, if you get what I mean, he was asked if he likes the owners to come to the dressing room after games or something. He said no, it's not okay. That he in his contract actually he puts it down. He puts it down on his contract saying managers owners shouldn't come to the dressing room. Yeah, but the younger managers usually don't do that these days. Something to that effect. And by the time you lose 3-4 games, you want that to stop happening. It's not going to happen because it's not on your contract. So, but if you put it on your contract, you have the space to do your job. Because I asked the question, them joining the dressing room after games, which it's a manager, it's up to the manager. He understands the game. It's the manager's job to tell the players, look at where we're fault at, and we have to fix that. I think they're just saying things on a surface level. Probably don't have a good understanding of what went wrong, really. But yeah, so Arsene Wenger to have said that, yeah, I understand Roger's argument, and it makes sense that that's how the owners of sports team in America operate. They get involved, but I think they should learn that it doesn't work in football. Some managers, I don't think Thomas Tuchel will allow that. I don't think Jose Mourinho will like that. I don't think even Carlo Ancelotti will like that. Have you ever heard of the Real Madrid president going into the dressing room, no matter who's the coach? I don't think it makes sense. I think it's out of desperation, anger for the amount of money they've spent and they're not seeing a result. But it's all on them, no matter how you see it. And that's why I said I'm going to stop questioning the hiring of Frank Lampard, except if when necessary, when we're having a conversation and it turns out I have to mention him to get my point across, then I'll do that. Here, Bali has messed up this club big time. First, took too long to get rid of Potter after dreadful results. Then went on to hire another manager with dreadful CV, unbelievable. I'm going to say that when I asked that question, people nearly killed me on on Twitter. I had to speak with the Beautiful Game, and he says, "Calm down, coach." But I get where that's coming from. The Beautiful Game says Bali doesn't want to pay Bayern the payout, so he's basically thrown away the UEFA Champions League and rest of the season, hence the appointment of Lampard. Enrique said he would gladly take the job, but Bali said no. I'm not going to argue again, but I'm just going to still phrase it this way. If that was exactly what happened, then it's. I hope I don't want to come across as if I'm insulting them. Let me just say, then it just doesn't make any sort of sense. I would say penny wise, pound foolish, if that makes sense. Hi, Christian David, big up to you, brother, and thank you so much for becoming a member yesterday. That will go a long way. Sincerely do appreciate that. And people, if you're watching, let me see how many likes we have. Already we have just 14 likes and we are 28 minutes into the show. Come on, people. We should be doing better than 27 likes. If you haven't, take a second and drop the like on the stream and also do subscribe for the channel. It takes half a second to like the video. And if you're watching it if for one reason or the other, you're not able to participate in the chat, we appreciate you too, because yeah, you do provide value to the community. But if you can do us one more favor, just please take a second to drop a like on the stream. Nobody will even know you did that, and it will go a long way. So people, just give me 1 second and let me do something. It looks like the post help remind people to drop a like on the stream, and that triggers the YouTube algorithm, which in turn pushes the stream to a lot of people who would be interested in participating in this particular conversation. It's going to be an interesting one, and I don't think we'll be able to finish it today. I don't think we'll be starting with Manchester United because that game has been postponed to not no specific date yet. So we're going to start. I think the Brentford game should be the first one, but just give me a second. Let me put up the poll here so it helps us remind people to like the stream. 1 second, you're gonna be an awkward silence here. Sorry about that. I will be back with you guys in a bit. I should be doing this before the show starts. Yep, there you go. To support the community. Have you liked the video? Yes, I have liked the video. I will like the video right away. There you go. That will help remind people. So what else do we have? Yes, my bro, Chris and David, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Hopefully, we'll have enough number today to do the monthly giveaway for students. That will make me happy. I left the game yesterday on the 88th minute, and I was in a queue to get out totally desensitized currently. Yeah, it's not easy to deal with. If you truly love the club, this is again the situation we found ourselves in is heartbreaking, really. It's you could say heart wrenching. It's energy draining, especially if you're a content creator. Usually, before I became a content creator, in such situations where the club is struggling, usually I delete all the sports app that send me a lot with regards to results and things going on with the club. I usually delete them. But now I'm obliged to present content to the community members. No matter what happens, I have to get myself together and and speak to the people and make sure the platform is still up and running so people can come vent, so we can have a good conversation and stay united. But more importantly, Chris and David, I want to thank you again for becoming a member. That will go a long way. Thank you so much. I sincerely do appreciate that. Dixon Donald, I am scared of Nagelsmann because of his age. The English league will be very big for him. I did a tweet comparison of Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique. Nagelsmann's his experience is centered around the Bundesliga. Enrique himself, I get it, the argument that he's only won something with Barcelona, but he's actually won something with Barcelona and beat Pep Guardiola's numbers at Barcelona, if that makes sense. And if you're arguing that Pep won stuff only with Barcelona before he switched, what's the club he coached again? Before he took a break, came back, and then joined Bayern Munich. Yeah, so if that's the argument people are making, I'm not saying he's Pep. Even I'd argue he's a more pragmatic version of Pep Guardiola. And plus, yeah, he did quite well with the Spanish national team. I know the argument will come up, he didn't win anything and all that. But yeah, but I think for me, he's the more experience of the two managers. Plus, he's done something outside La Liga. He's coached Roma before. He's also coached the Spanish national team and participated in the World Cup and the European, the league, which we go on international break every time he comes around, if that makes sense. So thank you so much, guys, for 23 likes. Keep smashing the like button. Let's get it to 100 today. By the time the show ends, today's show will be around 2.5 hours because I have something else, some other programs to attend to. That's why I had to move it up a bit. CFC waiting for Nagelsmann. The arrangement is for him to sign at the end of the season. Frank was signed temporarily to encourage the players and most especially regain trust from the fans. Did it work? I would say it didn't work. Maybe they trust them, but here's the thing: your pedigree can only earn you so much respect. If you're not producing results, those you're leading will question your leadership, and you could say, in turn, not follow your lead, if that makes sense. And Christian David, we set up well yesterday, but we cannot score the story of our season, which means, brings up the argument we should have mixed it up a bit, have more attacking players on the pitch. Um, that maybe would have made a difference, but still, we started the game well and ended well. Let me see, did I miss anything from Mikhail? I'm just seeing the big up one from him. My bro, Mikhail, much respect to you. One man I will never forget, who was always there when I had about 20, the channel had about 20, because it's gone beyond it's a community now, had about 20 subscribers, or even a few. But big up to you, much love. What are your sources for the Iqbal beats info? Okay, yeah, good question. Let him respond. What's up, G? What's up to you too? I hope you're doing well. Chin up Blues, chin up coach. Not the position we want to be at this point. In the season, but not a surprise, really, either. Yeah, I think if somebody like IBZ, when the whole sales and the sanctions conundrum were going on, he was one of those that would always tell us it's going to be a very, very long season. But I didn't expect it to be this long. I think it turns out it's longer than I anticipated. It's more devastating than I anticipated it would be. But yeah, the future is bright. I'm not concerned. I think we'll get back into the Champions League next year. Just remember, I told you that it depends on who the clubs are, who they hire. Coach, do you remember what happened the last time our players had nothing left to play for? They downed twos. There's a very strong possibility that we get 0 points for the rest of the season. Right now, let's say losing 4 games in a row, no matter how good you are, that can hit your confidence pretty hard. Yeah, that alone, it can hit your confidence pretty hard. Yep. Yeah, but let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. Champions League is really a Madrid's territory, in my opinion. A number 9 danger man is most essential for Chelsea. Yep, it is. It is. We just have to look at the profile of the one we're getting. We don't want one that you have to get the ball to them again to their feet, or make sure it was well measured. We don't want a static number 9. We want a number 9 who makes dynamic runs. Number 9, when they sense that there isn't the ball already, even though the ball has left the feet of the person who's putting on the cross and into the box, and they see if they stay where they are, the ball will not get to them. They adjust their position to get ahead of the defending player and get at the end of the cross or something. We want a number 9 that makes dynamic runs, reads the game very well, no matter what happens, no matter how deep the opposition defense, they still be effective. A good manager is a good manager. Age has nothing to do with that. Age isn't my concern. Like I said, 2 of them are excellent managers. Julian Nagelsmann is an excellent manager. He's proven that even beyond the German league, because he took RB Leipzig. Correct me if I'm even wrong, but I can still remember that quite well. He led them to the Champions League semi-final stage. That's not an easy feat to achieve. That alone shows you. I get it. He's done great beyond the German the Bundesliga. So yeah, so he's a good manager. Enrique is a good manager. But if you look at it, Enrique is the more experienced of the two and has won more than him. If you really, if that's it. And there's an argument that he fell out with the Bayern Munich board, which is an issue. Which means he's going to fall. Most likely will fall out without board 2. Club hierarchy, maybe, if that's what you prefer. But I'll take either of the two managers. Worst result since 1980. It can still get worse, really. Thiago Silva post-match basically saying the owners have been bungling with important decisions and already given a warning that next season will be the same if things don't change in the summer. Yep. I think at this point, he's not a yes man guy. He speaks the truth. I know they can hear him, if you don't like that, you do whatever you want to do. So I agree with him. Let's accept the truth. The only thing left of Chelsea is the building is the buildings and equipment that the UK government stole from Abramovich. They only carry the Chelsea name. It's a corpse. The spirit is gone. At the moment, it's a solid argument, a viable argument to say that the spirit is gone. It's no longer there. Talking to Mikhail there, enjoy the conversation. No identity, no structure, no philosophy. Yeah, I hope things change as soon as possible. And my bro Thomas Bays, preach, Thiago, preach. Yep. Amen to that. I have to wave my hands and say that. Let's see what else we have here. Kachila, we are at a point where we really have to. That's Roro. Well, big up to you, brother. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. At the point where we really have to look beyond the players and coaches. Our issues come from top to management and the decision they make. Even Pep won't succeed. But he's not going to stay, actually, if you start making decisions that you're not paying attention to what the team really needs. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this. I think I said that yesterday. I am not going to start critiquing, or questioning Frank Lampard's hiring. I'm going to start questioning the decisions that the owners have made so far. It has been one mistake to the other, to another mistake, 3 in a row, hiring Thomas Tuchel, hiring Graham Potter in a hurry, even though, I support it. When Thomas Tuchel was gone, I thought maybe it would be a good idea, given the way I liked the way his Brighton team played. They played as a unit. They were getting results, good results here and there. But when it didn't work, it took him too much time to find him. And when they did, and if indeed Enrique had asked them that he wants the job because he really wants to face Real Madrid with the belief that he can beat them and take us to the semifinals, the stage of the Champions League, and they refuse. If in fact that happened, then it's been one mistake to the other and to the other. Really, I'm not going to talk about the government this time. I think it's all down to the owners. But we'll always go back to the government, given that the whole thing started from them. I remember some of our backroom staff have worked with Nagelsmann in the past, given him the edge. At least that's what we think. At least that's what we think. Next season, league champions, EFL championship. Here we go. I hope that doesn't happen. But we don't have even enough points yet to say, we're good. But the truth remains, we have, I think, about 10, 12 points cushion with regards to those teams that are fighting, that are already in the relegation battle. In Bundesliga, first, he played with Bayern. Second, Bundesliga has mostly open games. He was still not holding up to standard for the owners. Nagelsmann will be a huge risk, but better than what we have. But here's the thing. What gives me hope if they end up hiring him would be his exploits in the Champions League with RB Leipzig, if that makes sense. But that's, by the way, big up to my bro, 80 Love for Blue. Always nice to see you. Thank you for all the excellent updates you usually send me via the Twitter inbox. I appreciate that. And if you're a channel member, Christian, if you're listening, we have a Twitter group. There, we're going to start talking constantly from, let's say, from the coming week to plan a members-only show. I want every member to be to be part of the process so that they're not isolated from that planning, exempted from that planning. Maybe 30 players in the dressing room, it's peak. Yeah, so the numbers have to reduce. But believe me, I don't think we need to make too many signings. In the defensive area, Levi Colwell will come back, and he's shown that he's capable of, holding his own in the Premier League. Plus, if Pep wants him, the fact that Pep wants him tells you all you need to know. So we're complete in the defensive area. Even if Thiago Silva is retiring, I think we'll be fine. Chalobah is a good player. He's a bit rusty, and even he did well in that game. Not the worst player on the day. But that's, by the way. Let's see some news items that I want us to tackle in a bit. Just give me a few seconds here. Let me bring it over. All right, and thank you to AD Love for sending me those updates. I appreciate that. We're starting from this one. This here says that Mitrovic of Fulham was at the game. He said he hoped to play for Chelsea when asked by the fan. Wow, are we looking to sign him? And why would they attend? Okay, he plays for a London club, so maybe he lives close by. And got a chance to watch the team. So are we looking to sign him? I think I wouldn't mind him and his experience. And I would. Here's the thing about the sort of striker, and he's not your stereotypical striker. He's not the type that will wait for the ball to get to his feet or for him to do something with it. He's a fine striker. You could say an all-rounder striker. I get it. He's no longer young. How old is he actually? Let me find out. I forgot it for a while. I want us to quickly cover the news and go into analyzing the teams who have to play against. 1 second. He's 28. That's not a bad age. I think. And his it's not pace isn't what defines his ability as a striker. But if we're looking to sign him, I'd take him really. But let's see what we have, Coach. Can you imagine if it wasn't for Tuchel's points at the start of the season, we would surely be relegated. Thank you, Tommy. I still thank him. I think for me, I know if you ask a lot of people who their favorite Chelsea manager is, a lot of them will pick Jose Mourinho. But for me, it is Thomas Tuchel. Our second Champions League, our first ever UEFA Super Cup. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yep, and our first ever Club World Cup. Or I think we've won the UEFA Super Cup before. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's, by the way, we're moving from that. But the fact he won us the Club World Cup, I'll take that. And the Champions League. And in the manner at which he did it after joining at the time he joined, we have Didier Drogba here said it's no longer the club. That's the new owner and the new vision of course, we tried to compare it with what happened during the Abramovich era, where a lot of players were brought in, but the decisions were very intelligent. Wow. I don't care how. I know Didier Drogba himself. He doesn't care how the new owners see this statement out there in public. But one thing is sure. I think that's a bold statement from a club legend. I wish other people that are another person that's made a similar comment. I think not as bold as that of Didier Drogba will be John Terry. That made a statement to the effect of. The club should be doing better. He understands, with a lot of new players signed, that it would take time for the team to gel and all that, but we should be doing better. That was when the Graham Potter was still the manager. But this one is bold as it can get. This is how it is, and I'm not going to hide my feelings. And the part that's really, really makes it stand out, but the decisions were intelligent. He's referring to the Roman Abramovich era, but this tells you he feels like the decisions this time are very stupid decisions. But we're moving from that. Here we have Didier Drogba also to kind of applause. They lack charismatic leaders. You need players that take on the game, that assume their responsibilities. You need a player that brings a bit of madness to the stadium. That is what really we lack leadership in nearly all departments of the team. Yeah, except for Thiago Silva yesterday. Kovacic is experienced, but he's not that sort of player that you don't get that sort of leadership from him. Kante leads by example, but he's not the most vocal. You need vocal leaders. You need plus asserting themselves in games. Being that crazy guy like you saw in Rudiger, like you saw in Didier Drogba, like you saw in Diego Costa. Even Mikel isn't the most outspoken, but he fights. You can see that spirit. So we lack leadership. That's why we have to pay attention to the sort of players we're signing. If we're looking to sign a number 9, we have to mix it up with somebody that can lead in the front line. In the midfield area, we need leaders. You need that aggressive leadership in the midfield area, in the defensive area. I get it. We can get the best talents in the world, but if we lack leadership in games, we will lack that. You can say that never die spirit that the Didier Drogba era had. They had leaders in all departments on the pitch. In the attacking area, you have the likes of Didier Drogba. In the midfield, you have the likes of Frank Lampard. You had Michael Essien. You had at one point we had what's his name? Even Mikel leads by example because he fights. We had the German, former German international in the defense, we had Terry, we have Ashley Cole, we had Brandon Ivanovic is not the most vocal, but he fights. So we need to pay attention to who we're going to sign, not just sign players because they're good players. We have to look beyond their playing ability to, how to balance things and not just, not make the mistake we made. We made the era where we signed the Oscars, the Marco Marine, the German Messi, and all that. Lots of players with flair, but no leadership. They don't have that fighting spirit we want. And yeah, so we need to pay attention to the players we sign. So I'm going to try and catch up with what we have, and soon let's get into analyzing our openings one by one. Yep, I can see that Christian David Ballack was the name I was looking for. Thank you so much for helping me remember that. Signing him would be hilarious. It would be indeed, but I think he wouldn't mind being a squad member, a squad player. Yeah, we can have him at the club and still sign a younger player if they decide Osimhen is the guy they want, or what's his name, the guy that plays for Juventus now. But we can still have Mitrovic. At this age, I think he wouldn't mind being a squad player, and you need such squad depth at the club, if that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. Signing in. Yeah, I've read that one. This says Mitrovic is good. He plays a simple but useful. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't mind having him at Chelsea Football Club. Mitrovic is good. It will depend how the new manager wants to play with a striker pace running behind, or just a striker with good football and intelligence. I get what you mean by that. So I think, yeah, it all depends on what the new manager wants. So let's give it time to see what they do. I totally agree with Droba. Yep, I agree with him. We need to sell Aspi, Stalin, Auba, Gallagher, Zakaria. We don't need to sell Zakaria. He's not our player. He just goes back. Kovacic, Mount, Felix Havertz. I think we should keep Kovacic especially, and I think that's the chance they keep Havertz. Kovacic brings a lot to the table, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't see that. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see what else we have here. Barley has good intentions for Chelsea, but he's undoing his good intentions, but making dreadful decisions. Yep, I couldn't agree more. He means well. They want to win. They did not spend 2-something billion to buy the club or to run it into the ground. No, it doesn't make sense if that's the case. They spent that much money, and they want to do well. That's why they made all the signings, spending millions, even hijacking Mudryk from Arsenal and all that. And they wanted to sign Casado too. It's because they want to win. But they've made some dreadful decisions, we have to be honest. Ballack was the name I was looking for. Thank you so much. Terry, all these names, yeah, all leaders. Yeah, all departments of the pitch, we had leaders, and that makes a whole lot of difference. Mitrovic would be a solid player who doesn't break the bank. He doesn't have to be the guy. And at this stage of his career, he would want to join Chelsea. Like the news we read said, yeah, he would want to play for Chelsea. And I wouldn't, even if we get a manager that wants a quicker player, a quicker number 9, we can still have him in the squad. He'd be effective. He has the experience. I wouldn't mind taking him. But that's, by the way, we're moving from that. Thank you so much for 30 likes. If you haven't, please continue to drop the likes on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. So let's go back. We will start by looking at where we are at the table. And from there, we go to looking at the games we have. There you go. This is the table here. We have we are 11th place, and I remember how many weeks ago with the arguments that we can still mathematically make it the top 4. It's over. No Champions League for us next season, except the club the Club World Cup, which was expanded, and because we won the Champions League. Because we won the last edition, I've forgotten the new rule, which means we'd participate in the next edition. So we are 10th. Where are we on the table? Let me see again. I think we're 11th. That's not correct. Where's Chelsea here? Yeah, we're 11th on the table. Yeah, we're with 31 points. My goodness, it's been an awful season. We won 10 games. Yep. Lost how many in total? We drew 9 and lost how many games? And lost 12 games. Yep, minus 3 goals. That's the first time I've seen that from Chelsea. I don't know where I've seen that since I started following the club. It's concerning, really. So this says sell Kovacic and replace him with Casado, replace Gallagher with Polina, sell Mount and replace him with Kone, sign a striker and an elite manager. That's all. It's not that simple. Let's face it. No matter how you say it, I think we have to first of all balance the books. As for selling, we're not going to be spending all the money we get from selling players on buying new players. I think the club will also prioritize. Balancing the book, which is very important. If you understand what I mean, that's important. Let's see. Big up to you too, Glenn, my bro. Always nice to see you. I appreciate you finding time to join the show. Thank you so much for 31 likes, guys. If you haven't, please take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also keep and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes to go along with. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your support. We move on from that one. Let's go to what we have here. Big up to you, Glenn. The Bluetooth game says Bali is obsessed with this Red Bull model, hence the Nagelsmann interest. Coach, if he fails, we are in big trouble. There's absolutely no evidence to suggest that this project will succeed. I'm going to say something you said yesterday. Put aside the long-term project at this moment. Stabilize the ship. Because if the ship isn't stable, why travel a distance? Why travel even a mile? Stabilize the ship, first of all, by hiring an elite manager. Put aside your plan for establishing satellite clubs in Portugal, in France, or wherever you plan to establish them. Stabilize the ship, first of all. And which was something they should have done, even though they want to be the best club in the whole world. Keep Thomas Tuchel at least at the end of the season. But of course, they've made up their mind. He's not their man. No matter what excuse they bring out, whenever he comes out, I'd still tell them you've made up your mind. You want to let him go because he's not. He wasn't yes man. He wasn't attending. You call him for meetings every time. He should be busy planning the next game or coaching the players. You want him to be part of a meeting. So until I hear something else, but no matter what I hear, it doesn't even make business sense to let him go. He's not your son. He's not you. He's the manager of the club, and he should be left alone to coach the team as he wanted. So I think their priority right now should be stabilize the team, put aside the long-term project, and then the ship will be ready to move a distance. Because where we find ourselves right now, it's already a problem. Continuing with the mindset that it's still a long-term project, prolong the suffering. It will prolong the suffering, honestly. Their focus should be to get an elite manager, make decisive signings to fix up for important areas such as the midfield area, the defensive midfield area, and also get a number 10 that's capable of producing, or number 8 that are capable of producing double digits in terms of assists and goals by the end of the season. And also get a number 9 that suits the style of play of the manager. Then let's get back into the top 4, get back into European football. Then plan for a 100 million years project. Then the ship will be ready to sail to that place, if that makes sense. Big up to you to Keshawn, the New York guy. I appreciate you finding the time to join this morning. I hope you're doing well. Will any team be willing to pay 30 million for Sterling? I don't think so. He's been in awful form. So should we decide to send him tomorrow, I don't think we'll be recouping anything close to what we paid for him. Probably around 20 or even less. He's not even trying. What a useless player on 325K a week. Which other team will pay him that kind of money? I was thinking we'll sign the better player. That's comparing him with Gabriel Jesus. It turns out, to me, so far, it's until proven otherwise. It turns out he's actually we made the worst signing of the two. And Gabriel Jesus has been excellent for Arsenal, actually. He returned from a long-term injury, and look how well he's done for them already. I'm disappointed. It just seemed as if how well Man City played and how they play as a unit, how you hardly see an individual player be like, except for be that one name you've been mentioning, this is the again, what if you look at the Man City player, you say Gundogan is excellent, you say Kevin De Bruyne is excellent, you say what's his name, Haaland is excellent, all of them, because they play as a unit mainly. You hardly see an individual stand out that much, if that makes sense. So maybe they maxed Raheem Sterling's deficiencies, and we thought he was that good and paid that much money for him. I agree with Kachila. Santiago Muno, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. Sincerely do appreciate that. When normal fans say the staff jobbers say they are told to shut up and support the club, now everyone is siding with Titi Droba. I can't blame them, to be honest. Yeah, a club legend speaks. That's the difference. I get it. If the number of fans say that, you get a lot of hate. Yeah. So that's a good observation right there. This says we don't need new players. We need to try playing all our players before buying new ones. I think we have a good enough squad, but we need to strengthen in the midfield area, and we need a number 9. To be honest, I think we need to do that. We were on the right hand side in terms of the wing back and full back position. On the right hand side, I think we're good. The left hand side, I think you can say we're good, except if Chewa isn't leaving, except if Kukurea is leaving, but I don't think he's leaving. I think a manager will find a way to use the way he plays, use him given the way he plays. Kachila, those are like for like players, a replacement. Somehow there are more players to be sold to balance the books. Kepa, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Padusar, Aspi, Chalova, Havat, Rahman. Baba Rahman is still on our books. I didn't know that. Cho, and who else am I seeing there? Yeah, Pulisic, etc. It will be a fire sale, but the question is, here's what makes it even. Let me explain something that is not that simple. If you really would like, would like to sell the players you just mentioned and sell all of them, you'd have to take some L. Yeah, and again, another issue would be the fact that most of these players, most of these players, they are on a very high wage, and some of them haven't left the club because of how much they're earning at Chelsea. No other club is willing to pay them that much money, and again, and we can't just off the top of our head and say we're just suggesting sell one player, sell the other. No, I think the club will leave it until the new manager comes in, and then he will assess the squad, which was why I'm asking, why not bring in the new manager immediately after the firing of Graham Potter, so that they will take the rest of the games to assess the squad and make up their mind on what player they want to stay and what player they want to sell. So it just doesn't make any sort of sense. Now the new manager will have to come in and start, assessing the squad when he should be busy, implementing his preferred approach to the game. But he have more work in it to do than necessary, if that makes sense. Cannot wait for season to end and get rid of some of these players. Yeah, some of them has to leave. I'm not going to read it out because I don't believe that, but I get your concern. Again, Kings 254, thank you for joining the show. I am just going to allow our women's team to follow our women's team to the end of the season. If that's what you like to do, good. We might actually have a chance of winning a treble with them. They're doing well. They're doing a good job, and I hope they win a treble and maybe get to win the Champions League this time and not lose to the Barcelona in the final. Here we have Mount will leave. It looks like he will most likely leave because I don't get it. If it's fit enough, why isn't he starting games? Let's see. And Patrick, nice to see you. How about a new song? I'm not feeling carefree anymore, lads. But that's, by the way, I'm going to bring in Bobby immediately. We still have more time, so Bobby, if you want to start anywhere else, just quickly before we go into analyzing our remaining games of the opponent. We already did the match review yesterday, but I'll give you the honor if you've heard everything we've discussed and you want to talk about.
Yeah, hi, Coach.
Hi,
I sort of jumped in when you were talking about the new manager and assessing the squad. Now, I sincerely believe, and I'd like to think that the directorship are intelligent people, that part of this whole long drawn out interview process
Mhm.
includes assessing the squad. I understand that one of the reasons they're calling back Nagelsmann is to discuss the summer transfer window
Oh,
and squad
are they calling him
assessment.
back?
Yeah, he's coming for a one-to-one, and squad
Oh, okay.
assessment should be part of the process. You should have had time to go. They interviewed them once. They'll say, okay, go away, watch the team from a distance over such and such number of games. You come back and you give us your ideas. And part of the selection process will be those who present the best and most workable ideas. This is the only thing that makes sense as to why the interview process is so long drawn. Now, also, what should happen from here on in, these last 7 games, people like Reece James shouldn't play the last 7 games. They should go and get well, get healed, and come back for pre-season. Um, in terms of selling players, yes, players will be sold. But after watching yesterday, I am so adamant that Chelsea stop this idea of selling their best players. If a player is found to be significantly good enough for the squad, just perhaps needing a good manager, or significantly talented enough to continue, you don't go and sell him. Don't go and sell him to Man City or Real Madrid. I mean, look at yesterday, how disgraceful. Not only did Real Madrid have the Chelsea, although this has nothing to do with this current management ownership, the Real Madrid, not only do they have our best keeper, and a best keeper for some time because we've never been able to replace him yet. Okay, you can say he wanted to go, but it was a blunder to have him out on loan at Atletico Madrid for so long in the first place. And they shouldn't make that mistake. These current ownership, they shouldn't make that mistake with Slodina. So Real Madrid had our best goalkeeper to date. And then they have our best player to date on the bench, and then have our best defender to date on the bench. I mean, who does that? Who does that foolishness? There's strength in depth provided by Chelsea best players. So we need to stop that nonsense. I believe we will. I don't see us selling, some guys are fantasizing, oh, sell Havertz, oh, sell this person. So that's not going to happen. Sorry. People like Ziyech will go, yeah, because he wants to go and we've tried to get rid of him anyway. But the best players will stay. And then any manager worth their salt will build from a core, just like the previous Chelsea teams. You're getting a new goalkeeper because we need to. You get a centre back, or you pick from the ones we have already. You get another solid physical midfielder and a striker, and they form the spine of what we have going forward. Now, we're not too far away. We just need a good elite manager and one or two players to come in, quality, top quality players. People are balking and crying about having to spend 100 million on a striker. Well, that will be the going rate. We've done that with Lukaku. Unfortunately, that hasn't worked and he has to go. But after making sales of a number of players and investment through the new sponsors, we will have to make some heavy investments. And I can assure you that it's likely the purchase of a physical midfielder might cost over the £100 million mark. And a striker, unless we get someone like Mitrovic, who will be expensive as it is, but a striker, if we're looking at Osimhen, we're looking at over 100 million. That is just football. It's expensive to be at the top. And then we rebuild. We yesterday was painful because we didn't expect much, but we showed what were missing yesterday. Because if we had goal scorers, we would have probably taken that game to extra time. And another thing, if we had more physicality, I mean, the most frustrating thing I found about yesterday was after we brought the ball forward, when we rightfully had Reece James put into midfield and he looked to cross the ball, the only person, when Kai Havertz also dropped into midfield to support, the only person at the point of attack for Chelsea was often N'Golo Kante, trying to hustle for a potential cross against Militao and Alaba. Militao and Alaba smoked a cigar throughout that game because there was nobody physical to challenge them. That has to change. Chelsea Football Club now has to focus on physicality. The next three purchases, striker, midfielder along Enzo and Kante, and goalkeeper, physicality must be a criteria. No more little, wimpish, weak players. You know, people like Sterling, sorry, not good enough.
Finesse players.
João Felix, disappointing. Mudryk, I find a new manager can work with him. He was making some things happen when he came on. It's just his finishing was a little bad. I am very fond of Gallagher. I like his spirit. He tried to shoot, although his shots were weak and Courtois just wasn't challenged. But at least he made some shots at goal, and I think under the right tutelage, he'll do well. I'm with you. I think it's possible that Mount is sold. It's possible, but it's not cast in stone. If he signs a contract and he says, I would welcome that. But would he expect to play every week? Absolutely not. You earn your right to do that, because I can assure you, wherever he goes, he'll end up on the bench most of the time. He's not that player that carries a team. So, that's just how it is. Disappointing, pathetic how the season has gone, but we've got to build ourselves back up again. Thanks for giving me the time.
We have to. We have to, Roger. Let me catch up with the chat. I'll come back to you before we're going to analyzing the opponents for the rest of the season. I think we will have a part 1, 2, and 3 of this. This says, did you see us hiring Luis Enrique? It's looking unlikely. I think the most likely candidate to emerge as a new Chelsea manager will be Nagelsmann. We saw something, I think I read something here, just give me quickly an update from AD. One of them saying Julian Nagelsmann, impressed during talks with Chelsea, have also contacted Mauricio Pochettino. I think Nagelsmann will end up getting the job. And let me use this here.
No contact with Pochettino. Squash that now. There has been
Bobby,
contact.
It's not me. I'm just saying it's Matt Law reporting Chelsea have contacted Mauricio Pochettino about the job,
Not
and
true.
I think it's looking more likely it's going to be Nagelsmann. Luis Enrique is not placed among the leading candidates for the job, which means I don't think it'd be him. And in other news, it says Newcastle United have made an inquiry for Chelsea midfielder Mason Mount, but the numbers involved are prohibitive because of financial fair play and a desire to protect their current salary model. An asking price of 80 million. Good luck to us. I don't see anybody giving up that much money for a player that has how long left on his contract, and he would just weather it out and live on the free for waste time. We'll have a chance to get something sizable, but I don't think he will come anywhere, even half of 80 million. And a weekly wage of at least 250,000 have been quoted. Anything more to read from this? Yeah, I've been quoted from Mount. I don't think any club will be willing to pay us that much money. So let's move on from that one. Let me catch up with what we have and bring in Roger. Anything where he want to start before we go into analyzing the opponents as scheduled. Afternoon. I have said it before. Luis Enrique better. The owners should employ him now, and so he can start working with the players now, so they will get a good transfer. Not Lampard. Here's the thing. I think Lampard stays to the end of the season. I'd be shocked if they decide to let him go again now. And what a security would become really. But they would have brought in the the new manager immediately, the new permanent manager immediately to start assessing the team from now. Because in the summer, maybe if they'll be doing that in the background, like Bobby explained, maybe that would be the case. They fired all the previous managers and stuffs to remove Abramovich's shadow, but they made big mistake. They're trying to show themselves bigger than Abramovich, but they get to the smaller by the day. Wow. Kuchela, if that's the case, then any player who doesn't want to be sold should be banished to the development squad and see how it goes. Choose between their career and money. I don't think it's that simple, but I understand what you mean. You see still a few cases where the player salary is an issue, and the Mason Mount case being a prime example. Newcastle won him, but the price being quoted plus his salary also is an issue, and they don't want to, cause a problem because the next player you'll be hiring will know how much, or you'll be signing will know how much Mount earns weekly and would want more if they feel like they're better than Mount. If that makes sense, we have to be careful paying those huge wages to these players. I always knew Stalin was a fraud. We should get Enrique. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Enrique will be our next manager. Sacking Tuchel side of the problem, yeah, and they keep making mistake after mistake. If they should have sacked Potter earlier before the international break, I'm doing a tapping on Roger on that one. And then the manager will have a new way again sometime before the Champions League against Real Madrid. Too many players on the roster, no doubt. Let's see what else we have here. I'm just going to go to the very bottom in a bit. People have to go, definitely. Sacking Tuchel side of the problem, I think you've said that before. Let me see what else we have here. It is Todd Bowley, stupid decisions and coding. I don't believe the coding story. I think because people see them together, so it's easy to make up that rubbish and put it out there. And some people, I don't suck up to that, such nonsense, really. He'd be stupid after spending billions, and then a comedian would be the one to suggest, make suggestions on who to hire. Roman won it all. Avi, right? Yep. There's no question about that. Anything else to catch up with here? Bobby, can you tell me the best players? I don't want to get into that, but you guys, I'm sure you understood everything he said. Those people that was hired by Roman spent more years than Todd Bowley and Behad could have. Wow, some argument right there. Anything else? Roman made mistakes too. Yeah, but he learned from them. We have to see what this ownership. Look, everything they're doing with good intent. They've made mistakes. They're not perfect. Hopefully, but it just looks like they're not learning from them. You know what? They're learning, because if they haven't learned from hiring Graham Potter immediately after firing Thomas Tuchel without proper, should I say, vetting, if they haven't learned, the new manager will be in by now. Even though we want the new manager to start immediately after the firing of Graham Potter, they're taking their time. But still, another mistake it would have been if they want to fire Graham Potter, just leave him, do something in the background and get in a new manager. You have a sporting director in place who understands how to do that, if that makes sense, technical director, so to speak. Under Roman and Tuchel, we're winning all our matches except for these stupid sanctions and injuries. That unsettled our team and all that. Let's see, that ship has sailed. They've seen TT losing the Champions League. Okay, Didier Drogba has warned the new managers of coming to Chelsea. I wouldn't say that was what he did. The only way forward now is a proper manager and 2 seasons of struggling. Wow, it doesn't look good. Red Bull Football Club, you heard it here first. Let's see. Mason Mount to Newcastle, here we go. They don't want to spend that much money, and he wants to be earning more because he thinks it's good, and I think it's a good player. Bobby talks about physicality, but praises Havertz. Why not focus on trying all our options like Dacho Fofana? I think he's all for Dacho Fofana getting a chance. 600 million, and we're in 11th position. Stalin not good enough, but Gallagher is good enough. I get rid of both as soon as possible. No more sentimentality at Chelsea. Sentiment made a Potter and Lampard managers outcome disaster. Let's see. I think I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. Let me see anybody here that I haven't gotten their comment. Let's see. They Sing Club. I was going. Okay. in a new direction. Bali is decided to control. He needs to be first to step into the shadows. We need our sanity back. Adebayo, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Okay. Bali is the kind of guy that makes key decisions when he's. I'm not going to read that. He needs to stay away from Las Vegas. Really, you have to mention that. That's what else we have. Okay, I'm going to come to you, Roger. Anything you want to talk about before we go into analyzing the opponent? It's looking like it's going to be Nagelsmann. I think all the names that have been mentioned probably content producers just trying to get people to read what they have to say.
Hello, gentlemen. Good afternoon. Good morning.
Hello to you too.
Listen, shockingly, so I agree with virtually everything Bobby said yet again. I think, we are where we are at this junction due to a myriad of reasons. Maria Granovskaya, for instance, some of the decisions that were made were lumbered with people like Lukaku, etc., on exorbitant wages. There's a huge look. We got 34 players. Then we've got players on loan like Malang Sarr, Ampadu, Levi Colwell, Gusto. Now, a couple of them are coming back. Don't get me wrong. Dijon Sterling, Rahman, Bakayoko is still on a wage bill. So Hudson Odoi, Santos is coming. Lukaku is. I don't know what we're going to do with him.
Odoi, his wage isn't. He's earning a lot too.
Who is, sir?
Hudson Odoi is earning quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he earns. I have to look it up.
I think 120 at least.
Yeah,
around that.
So I think like Bettinelli's probably going to depart. I think Cesar Azpilicueta is going to depart. Dennis
Bettinelli just signed a new contract.
Bettinelli will stay.
Did he really?
He's a third choice goalkeeper, yeah. So I think he will stay.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware of that.
And he's happy to stay as third choice.
Yeah, well, get what you get, I guess. Caesar, I think, will depart. Azpilicueta. Dennis Zakaria, I think there's a strong possibility he's going to return, right? We're not going to extend his loan. Conor Gallagher, I'd like to see him stay because we need depth. Bobby's right. You can't just offload people for the sake of offloading. Plus, he's a homegrown talent. Don't forget.
Roger, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but can I just say something about Conor Gallagher? Because there were some comments about him going and about him and Sterling. One, they are two different types of players.
Yeah.
Two, Conor Gallagher, if you notice, I think this is the first time ever you will hear me more or less pulling an English card. I never do it. I will never do it. I don't believe in it. But the reality is, Conor Gallagher is not only homegrown, but he's one of our English players. And Chelsea, in order to have that spine and add meaning to the identity of our successful DNA, you must have some English players there. That's just the reality. They help with the fan base and the affiliation from the fan base. And Conor Gallagher, look, we all know technically he's not the best, but his endeavor, his application, and his loyalty to the club is worth something in a squad. In a squad, you don't always all have to be superstars. There has to be parts of the machine that make it function. And Conor Gallagher is just that part. And that's why I like him so much. I don't want to interrupt you, but I just have to get that in there about him because people keep attacking him. And I don't think it's fair.
Coach, you need to brace yourself and take a deep breath. But I agree with everything you said. It's... every team needs a James Milner, so to speak. Do you understand? Someone that is a workman, someone that is... You're right, not everyone can be a Messi. You can't have 11 Messis on one team. You just can't. You need an amalgamation of different kinds of personalities.
I call it balance.
Yeah, but yeah, very much so. Player profiles, physicality, etc., etc. It's and Conor Gallagher. Don't forget the rules stipulate that we're supposed to have a certain amount of homegrown players. Every team in the Premier League, and in order to play in Europe too, which obviously we're not going to be doing next year, it seems. So, Conor Gallagher, I think he needs to stay. Amari Hutchinson, what's going on with him? Does he go out on loan? I don't know. Same with Lewis Hall. But we need these players. Cesar Cassidy, what happens with him? I'm not a big fan of Sterling, but if anyone I want to see leave this team, it would be him because I've never rated him. I'm just being honest. Broja, don't forget, everyone says we need a striker, but Broja, I'm not sure when he is able to be fully fit and return. And I know it takes time to recover from a major surgery, but both physically and psychologically. But he's got to be in the mix also, along with Datra Fofana. Pulisic, what's his future? Ziyech, I think we can safely assume is departing. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, I think we can safely assume the same also. João Felix, what do we do with him? I personally, I know we've got many types of this kind of player. He's basically what I would call a finesse player. He's not strong enough, as Bobby was alluding to. There's several of them that aren't strong enough. But if you look at the run he made yesterday, it was very Hazard-esque, if I may say so. He has an undoubted amount of talent. From the very first time he played for us against, Liverpool, he just, I can't remember which team it was. I'm not sure it was Liverpool or not, but he's a wonderful player, and I rate him. In all likelihood, we probably won't buy him, but I like him. Mudryk is our future, and obviously Madueke. This is a big team. This is I just went through the roster. I put asterisks by and question marks, and these are players that are they're on the outside looking in. I think we can safely assume, but we cannot just clean house. Financially, there are things that we have to obviously abide by, but we can't. You look at any good team, and I consider Chelsea a big team. We're going to need depth, and you've seen what's happened. With Chelsea this year, we were depleted through injury. What happens? Touch wood. If that happens again next year, where's your depth going to be? You only seen what happens when we lose one player and N'Golo Kante. We're a completely different team. Mm-hmm. So we need this depth on the bench. Listen, I was quite pleased with how Chelsea played last night. I must admit. Obviously, I'm not pleased with the result and the fact we're eliminated. But
tell me you're pleased with the result.
No, I'm being serious. Thanks, Coach.
No, but
Thanks,
I know you're serious. For you to tell me
open wound in salt, right? Listen, we do need these executives need to come to a decision and hire the appropriate coach and his coaching staff. And if
don't you think that by now they know who they want to hire? They want to hire. I think people are beginning to.
You would
come
hope
to the
so.
conclusion that it will be Nagelsmann, because without that, you're creating more work for the manager when they come in, because no manager will start spending time on assessing the team when they're not sure they're going to get the job.
My question is,
go ahead.
My question is, hypothetically, in 2 to 3 weeks before the season, with 3 or 4 games left in the season, we've found and identified the correct player. And do we put pen to paper and then ask Frank, thank you for everything, but we're going to let's say hypothetically, Nagelsmann coach for the last 3 to 4 games and let him see and evaluate the whole team and the whole squad in practice every day. Not each game, but it's more importantly is getting to know the players, getting to know them individually and technically on the practice field 5 days a week. This is invaluable time that you can't, that you'll be basically performing catch up if that not taken place. Is that something that is possible and would transpire? Or do you think we will let this season wind out and then hire after the season's over?
And for the manager before the manager comes in?
Yeah, I personally think the initial as opposed to the latter, personally.
We will let the season go. The manager will join at the end of the season, but they are already part of the interview process, unless these people are stupid, is is an analysis and a précis of the team and who needs to be purchased. Also, the coaching staff. I mean, I don't know if you've
Yes.
all seen those Twitter clips of Ashley Cole drilling and shouting at Cucurella and Reece James, the wing-backs. This, to me, is testimony to look, whoever comes in, please, please retain your likes of Ashley Cole, Joe Edwards. And, Lampard, I know he will never be an assistant. He never want to be, but I think he should. You need that Chelsea core. Chelsea is an establishment. It's a
And Terry
system. It's a
also.
tradition. And once you go away from that, part of the reason Potter had so many problems was that he surrounded himself with Brighton. So they became Brighton. You can't do that. And I don't know. I just hope they keep some of these guys.
Yeah, but Bobby, I agree. If you look at this whole roster, this whole squad, one thing that sticks out at me, and that is a lack of leadership compared to bygone years. Does that make sense? There is, we used to have leadership in every department of the field. And where do you see that? And listen, Aspie's a great leader. I'm not taking away from him. Silva, a great leader. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about the depth of leadership. It's not there. It's genuinely not there. Now, Kante, he leads by example, bless him. He's our best player, in my humble opinion, by far. He's a world-class player. But I'm talking about leadership generally. It's lacking. And you need that. And I think that's, to me, this is quite obvious. Perhaps I'm wrong. I don't know.
All right. Thank you so much, please. If you're watching, keep dropping the likes. We have only 40 likes, and we're 1 hour, 30 minutes into the show. We need more likes. If you haven't, soon, once I catch up with the chat, we'll start analyzing the opponents with the remaining 7 games. Yeah, please keep dropping the likes. If you haven't, and also do subscribe to the channel. Kachula, you said it's not easy to sell players. Like I said, I have my reasons. I know we're going to be selling a lot of players, but it's not going to be as simple as you think. And there are a chance some of those players you think will go will still remain at the club. Can you tell me how the squad is going to? It will still be trimmed. I'm just telling you, it's not going to be that simple. Some of the players that are new, like Cucurella, Koulibaly, Mudryk, Stalin, and those. Yeah, even sell the new manager too. I don't know why. Definitely keep Mudryk. He's staying. I think a lot of the new players will stay. Malo Gusto, Casade incoming. I think Malo Gusto certainly. Yeah. Casade may well, they may well keep him out on one more. And Colwell most likely will come back in. But he says he doesn't want to extend with Chelsea until he sees, well, again, he's a smart guy. Wants to know, he said something to the effect of the new manager would want to assess the squad and decide what he wants to do next. So let's see what happens. What else do we have here? Cucurella needs to be sold. That's what you think. A new manager could come in and say, oh, that's my perfect kind of player. Pulisic also, yeah. I'm going to try and scroll to the very bottom so we can get into that. Gallagher is working hard to save his Chelsea career. I think he's not a bad player. He's still very young. You must remember that. And he looked an improved player yesterday, actually. Gallagher is playing like the kid who wants to prove something to the coach. Love the energy, but it looks sloppy sometimes. He's still learning. To me, the less he's in a hurry, I think the better he start doing. But yeah, that's a good analogy there. We should give Alba a second chance to improve us, unlike Lukaku. Alba isn't getting a second chance.
No.
It doesn't look like he has a good relationship with the new owners. And I'm going to explain why again. The fact that the club went to the extent of agreeing to pay his salary, full salary, and have him join LAFC, and he refused, I don't think he'd stay. Endeavor, application, energy, desire isn't good enough. Get some English talents from the under-21 and develop. I think we have a lot of good English talents. But Gallagher I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens. But in my opinion, I think because of what we talked before, because it's free money, he may well fall into the category of players that the club will want to sell, except if the new manager says he wants him, because the whole thing comes down to who the new manager wants and who they don't want. And I pinned the link to the membership at the very top. If you want to become a member, if you can afford it, it's $2.99. With the community, we really appreciate that. The Chelsea will never sell Mount nor bring back Lukaku for a third time after all that fuss. Now, I don't know. I don't think we should bring him back, no matter who comes in. I remember Lukaku coming back to Chelsea, but he will come back and then we'll find a solution. Either we'll sell him or terminate his contract. But it's not up to me. Maybe the owners will decide if the new manager says he can get the best out of him, then he stays. Luis Enrique to Tottenham because we aren't getting him. He will maybe get to go to Tottenham and they have Champions League football. Will become Brightonized. You could argue that exclusive Luis Enrique, yep, I've read, we've talked about that too, but thank you for bringing it up again. Looks like we are getting Nuggesman. That's what it's looking more like. This is the only content creator that brainstorms solutions. Everyone else are pointing fingers. Lamatu, thank you. I appreciate that. We're blushing right now, but it's a kind words. We appreciate that. And thank you for always coming here and joining and also presenting your own opinion. We appreciate that. He's going to Tottenham. The whole season will be saved if we wick 3 points. If we take 3 points off Arsenal, that would be huge. That day, I will celebrate as if we win the league. Did you hear that?
Or 2 points, you know,
Well,
even
2
if we
points.
draw, it will hurt
Even
them.
2 points would be huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Roger, if you were saying something, but the win even better.
No, of course, that goes without saying. That's always a plus. That's, I guess, what you would call the cherry on the icing, right? The cherry on the cake.
Yeah.
Will be absolutely delicious, but we can only hope.
Yeah, but I think we can. It reminds me of the season where Tottenham were close to winning the league.
Yeah,
and we were doing badly. Once it got to us, once it got to us, Eden Hazard doubled his performance and make sure he ruined it on the day because it's a different spirit. The question is, we have a lot of new players, but probably doesn't understand what that means. But we still have the likes of Reece James. We still have Ben Chilwell. I think we still have a lot of players that understand what it means not to let them win it. And Lampard, too, would tell them, you've lost all the ones you lose, but this one you're not losing. You're not going to lose this one. You're not allowed to. The whole, I hope we do that. The sentiments are to keep goal and higher Terry. That's exactly what's wrong with the club and fan base. Sentiments instead of competence will get a Chelsea. Here's the thing. I'm not going to get into that argument because I strongly believe the new manager will come in with their own backroom staff. It's up to them to decide. Maybe I have one that is to add somebody who understands the club inside out. I wonder if waiting to hire Nagelsmann due to his Vivek connection has any sentiment to it. It's sentiments too, if that's what they're doing. It's sentiments, no matter how you define it. That logic, RLC deserves to be praised and given similar opportunities to be on the team as much as Gallagher. I'd say if you give me the two of them, say pick one, I'll pick RLC. He's a much more technical gifted of the two and hasn't had the chance actually to play where he fits in the best. And the truth remains, I don't know if you guys have seen the rumor, Real Madrid won four players from Chelsea, and those players are all on the last years of their contract, and they know we want to sell quite a lot of players. That the players they want includes Mount, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, what's his name also, Mateo Kovacic. I think I'm missing one name, but I can't remember what other name. Let's see. People still quoting Lukaku. He was still the highest goal scorer at last season, despite all the problems. Sure, Lukaku isn't why Chelsea. I think the relationship is where the problem lies. The man, not whether he's scoring the goals or not. The relationship is the reason why, and his behavior is the reason why. Was the reason why people started looking at other things they shouldn't be looking at. For instance, Timo Werner wasn't when he was performing badly. He was giving it his all. Wasn't saying much in public. Wasn't even complaining that much. So people still supported him. But in the case of Lukaku, the interview and all that didn't help. If you get my point there. So let's move on, Roger. Let's look at our remaining games. Should we start? The United game is postponed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Do you think would play the one for against Brentford will be on the 26th? Do you see any chance of us playing that game, that United game before then?
It all depends on United because they're in the Europa League, so it all depends on
Also,
their
was that
scheduling.
the reason why it was postponed, or was it because of us?
No, I believe
You're
it
not
was
sure.
originally. I believe originally when I heard the game was postponed, it was because United had made the Europa League the next stage. So I
Mhm.
believe it was because of that. So it all depends on how they advance within Europe. When do they play next? I'd have to look. I think what is it? You said April the 22nd. Is that what it says?
Which one? The Brentford game.
No, I'm talking about the Man United one. That was on the 22nd. So yeah, so this we're playing Brentford next. That's going to be a Brentford.
Okay, it was
This,
supposed to be played on the 22nd, so I don't think we'll play it before that game.
no, it's going to be later on. Looks like
Okay, but
Brentford
let's
are next.
go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah. Which one do you want to go with first?
But should we just skip it before that, or should we just, start with it? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a big game. It's a good rivalry. It's a great rivalry.
So let's go with that one. Yeah, if that's but before I do that, this one too saying it's not what Lukaku did on the pitch, it's what he's done off the pitch. Yeah,
Yeah,
perfectly put. If I saw that earlier, I would have done a tapping on you. If we are going to ignore these sort of things, we're truly finished. I don't think we should ignore that. They are in FA Cup too. Okay, yeah. So it may well have been postponed because of them. Um, now they hate him at Inter, and we are supposed to be his safety net. Yeah, I don't think it makes sense now. They don't like him over there, and that's not the time to get him back. And would they even? Okay, let's go for it. They have. This is not. He's not the biggest player there. They have Tom Hinton, Scott McTominay. A few days probably will be ready. Will be available for that game. They have Marcus Rashford out, strain injury, so probably be available for that game because that's we're not sure when he's going to be played, but probably since it says doubtful for their next game shows it be available for before we play them. Lissandro Martinez, early July, probably will miss that one, I think. He most likely will miss that one. Donny van der Beek, out for the rest of the season. And Alejandro Gamacho, a few days probably will be available, but it's not. Is he a starter? I don't think he's not a starter for them. For us, we'll have Koulibaly late April, may well be available since this game has been postponed. Amanda Broya, we know. I think we have a full squad. So current form, head to head, 12 wins, 11 wins. They've won more than us. 13 draws, and the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. Wow. Are you looking at that, Roger?
no, what was that?
All draws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All draws. 0-0 draw. All Premier League games. It was 0-0 draw in October 24, 2020. 0-0 draw in February 28, 2021.
Wow, I
Forget
wasn't
the
aware of
dates.
that.
1-1 draw. 1-1 draw. 1-1 draw. But let's look at current form. In 5 games,
No,
they've
let's
won
not.
1-2-3, 1-2-2 draw, and 1 loss. And for us, it's yeah. What do you make of it? Do you think we can win this one?
Listen, out of the last 25 games we've played, we have not scored in 15.
And it has continued, right?
Yeah, 15 out of the last 25 matches we played, we have not scored. We do not have the ability to put the ball in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
We have a -3 goal difference. It's until we can fix this. This is obviously a fundamental part of the game, being able to score goals. And if you can't fix this, if this can't be turned around, I have no confidence in Chelsea winning any games, drawing at max. This is how bad it is. Let's be honest and analytical with this. We just simply can't rely on deflections or own goals. We don't have the propensity, the consistency to score. In fact, invariably, what is it? The last 6 games, we've only scored 1 goal, and that was a deflected goal. So, you please, someone inform me where these goals are coming from. Perhaps we start playing different players, like consistently starting Mudryk, whomever, I don't know, Madueke. Maybe we start playing these new players and see what they can do. Because what has transpired with the players that we have played consistently this season, they have not been able to score. Listen, we've had 3 managers now, or at least 2.5, that haven't seemed fit for Datra Fofana to even be on the bench. So what does that tell you? So perhaps he's just not ready. We need to maybe come to that realization, but I wouldn't mind seeing him start. Listen, the current players that we're using aren't good enough to score. So why don't we perhaps, maybe naive of me, perhaps try the younger players, see what they can do. It can't be any worse because 15 out of the last 25 games, they have not succeeded. Technically 16 out of the last 25 because that was a fortuitous goal by Gallagher. If that makes sense. I'm just being honest with my appraisal. I do not see us winning this game, Coach. I do not see us winning any game until we can fix this goal-scoring issue.
Yeah, and even though they've not been scoring too many, they're not conceding too much.
No, true.
Yeah, they're not conceding too much, but good analysis.
And they have a great goalkeeper. I really like De Gea.
But every now and then you see him, make some horrible
He has a blooper every now and then, but the last decade or so, he has, for all intents and purposes, been their best player. Consistently.
Yeah, he's been the reason they've done as well as they've done in most cases, and in recent seasons, to be honest. I know every now and then he makes some high-profile mistakes that you ask your question, is this the same player that's been saving them all the while?
But over his tenure for them, he's been a great goalkeeper. In fact, he was for many years, he was the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, probably for 4 or 5 years. He keeps them in matches, he really does. Yes, he's accustomed to the occasional blooper, but other than that, listen, they need to have an off day, and it's played it's played in Manchester, isn't it? So that doesn't bode well. Old Trafford's a tough place. There's a rivalry there. Their crowd's going to be up for it. It's going to be a tough match, Coach. It's just being honest.
Yeah, it would be a tough match, and one that I think the most we can get out of it, if you ask me, would be a draw. Hopefully, we see an improvement added to the improvement we've seen already. And people that vote here, total votes 3,661 votes, 68% thinks Man United will win this one, and we will lose. 26%, only 26% believes we'll win it. And I've even moved on from there's a period where I used to say, when you think a club or a team will beat the heck out of Chelsea, we end up winning it. But that hasn't been the case this time. You're not sure what you're going to get. So let's see what else we have here. Those players that Real Madrid want us should go. We don't have a clear plan for our legends. They are done and accomplished too much for us to make them look like this. Yes, then some of the players that will go will end up leaving because they have just about a year left on their contract and not willing to put pen to paper for a new contract. The club will have no option than to let them go in the summer. I am listening to Galvanize about the Chemical Brothers. Can we change the lyrics? The time has come to brightenize. Oh my goodness. You can do that. Coachella, that's incorrect. Werner complained why he left. No, that was towards the end. That was when Thomas Tuchel openly started critiquing him. That was towards the end. But even during that period too, the fans supported him all through, if you get my point. But I get it. I get where you're coming from. You cannot pick and choose. Okay, I get it. Okay, you win. Big up the panel. Big up to you too, brother. Thoughts on reports that Enrique hasn't met the shortlist. There are guys. These guys cannot get out of the way. I'm so tired. Here's the thing. Like I've always said, I like Nagelsmann too. I get it. I did a tweet comparison of the both of them, tweet a thread. The difference is that Nagelsmann's experience is centered around the Bundesliga, but he's done quite well outside of the Bundesliga. With Bayern, he made it to the quarterfinal stage. He took them to the quarterfinal stages of the Champions League, and with even a lesser team, or you could say a less stronger team, Leipzig, he made it to the semifinals of the Champions League. So he's done something outside of Bundesliga, showing he's a talented coach. And if you watch his teams play in Europe too, you'd know he's a talent too. But my preference was Enrique, given that he's more experienced, has won more, and he's done something outside of La Liga too. His coach Roma too. That's an experience. He's coached the Spanish national team. He's gained some experience in that aspect too. If you bring up the argument, well, nearly all his trophies, he won them all at Barcelona. I get it. Pep won all his trophies at Barcelona before he joined Bayern. If that makes sense. So, I've always said, I'll take either of the two. If it ends up being Nagelsmann, fine. I hope it's not a mistake. That's all I can hope for. But from what I've seen, I trust him. Smash the like button, people. 47 likes. Let's get it to at least 50. And please keep dropping the likes on the video, and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Anything else to get here? And this is a virtual Oath Studios. I haven't seen you for a while. I hope you're doing well. Ten Hag ball is starting to cook now. I am worried they have a top coach. Top coaches don't need that much time. I think he's done quite well. They play like a well-oiled machine, and he's a good tactician. But I need us to get something out of it. Even a draw, I'll take it. But it's not looking like, again, we can win. Todd Bowley, Mumu, this my Niger brother Seth has ruined the CLC. I beg, go back to your baseball. Unfortunately, he's the co-owner of the club, and I don't think they can actually vote him out. Let's see what else we have here. Good morning, coach. Good morning to you too. I love the people. I hope you're doing well. Bali, pack your bags and leave West London and go back to Maryland. Yeah, where you're from. Okay, let's see. Big up. I am heartbroken to see my club like this. Francis Winters, we're all concerned. Yeah, and we vent our frustrations into, variations of ways. If Conor Gallagher is willing to be what Mason Mount doesn't want to be, I would love to have him at our club. But I think he himself, hopefully, I hope he stays, because I think I've seen signs that he can become an even better player. But a starting place isn't guaranteed, that's for sure. Smash the like button, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Francis and Virtual Old Studios, please do let me know that you're both doing well, because I haven't seen you guys in a while. Nagelsmann is not Chelsea level. It's another gamble. A gamble can work. You say it's another gamble. You're not saying certainly he's going to fail. That's a chance he succeeds. Let's give him that chance. It's another gamble by people who are playing a game with the management of our club. So if you're in the chat, let us know whether you think we can beat Man United. The game has been postponed. We're not sure what date it's going to hold again. But I'm going to come to you, AD. Big up to you. First of all, I want to thank you for all the updates you've been sending to me. The question I want to ask you is this, AD, do you think we can beat Manchester United? Out of 3,661 votes, 68% thinks we're not going to be able to beat them. But your thoughts?
Hi, Coach. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Roger.
Hello, Eddie.
And just context here. The last 5 games, all draws. All draws. 1-1 draw, 1-1 draw, 1-1 draw, and 2-0-0 draws. Yeah, go ahead.
On current form, if the game was to be played on Saturday as it was scheduled to, I would have said absolutely no chance. But maybe whenever it's pushed to, if we can pick up some form, we don't know what's going to happen then. So, but on this current form, no way.
So how about, I think, what do you say that the game yesterday, the only thing we didn't do was put away chances?
Exactly. Yeah, and the build up to the game, I said something. I said that the only positive or one kind of encouraging point that we could take going into the game was maybe Lampard was only trying to be solid enough, which he did to some extent, He actually
It was
did to some extent.
honestly, it was beautiful to see us press them, play them, but without end product, it didn't make any sort of sense. We controlled the game, but couldn't score. But go ahead with what you were saying with regards to the United game.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think all the purpose was not to concede. I mean, yesterday's game, talking about yesterday's game, the whole purpose was not to concede, which he did, I mean, early, and he didn't concede until, I think, the 60th minute or the 50-something, 58th minute or thereabout. If not for Chalobah that mistimed that tackle, I mean, it was still on. You know, maybe he was looking at, say, the 60th minute or thereabout to make subs, attacking subs. I mean, it didn't work, so we just move on. So, but looking at, I just want to quickly go, if you don't mind, just talk about the managers now.
All right, go ahead.
Appointment of managers.
I should have started you with that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, you see, there is a problem already before we even appoint any manager. We have a problem. And this is because of the availability of these managers that have been linked to Chelsea. They are all available. Pochettino, Nagelsmann, Enrique, only Amorim and some others are not.
Is available too.
Yeah, so let's just bring it down to the three. Enrique, Nagelsmann, and Pochettino. We all know they are available. The problem we're going to face is that if we end up appointing one of them, there is already going to be comparison issue based on that. Say, for example, if we appoint, say with Nagelsmann, and from the chat and most people, I mean, it looks as if everybody is tilting towards Enrique. So if we don't appoint Enrique and say he ends up going to Tottenham or wherever, and we appoint Nagelsmann, there will be comparison. If Nagelsmann does not perform, already people will tell you, oh, we said it should have been Enrique. So that's a big issue coming in already for this new manager, whoever it is. If Nagelsmann doesn't end up with Chelsea, we appoint Enrique. And from the reports we're hearing, Real Madrid, if Ancelotti leaves, might be going to Real Madrid. If he ends up going to Real Madrid and we bring in Enrique, Enrique doesn't perform, Nagelsmann performing with Real Madrid, we say, oh, why didn't we take Nagelsmann? Why did we bring Enrique? So already...
That's some excellent insight there. Go ahead with what you were saying.
So already, I see a big problem. The only prayer now we have is that whoever they will appoint just starts performing. If he starts performing, then nobody will be able to compare. But he just needs, there is no room for, and I would have loved to see if the manager we're going to appoint, when Potter was sacked, these few games left at the end of the season would have been time for the new manager to understand the squad and be part of the recruitment, trimming of the squad, and then signing of new players. But now, we're not going to appoint the new manager. It's probably going to come in the summer. And then by the time it comes to the summer, the transfer window is open. So it would have been the new manager being in place of Frank Lampard, understanding the squad. So he would have known, I don't want A, I don't want B, I want C to come in, I want this to happen.
It would have been easier for the new manager to start working with them immediately and have a first-hand experience rather than seeing them from as an outsider during games and all that. But,
exactly.
There's nothing we can do about it right now. But
we can't do anything, but I think they got it wrong there, especially if now we know Nagelsmann is actually available. He needs compensation to get him off the Bayern Munich. Enrique is available, ready to go.
Be him.
It's looking more, to me, it's nearly say 80-90% that it's going to be Nagelsmann from what we are reading and what we are hearing. So if he ends up coming, I think they didn't want to go again and pay compensation, thinking of what happened with Potter. They had to pay to release him. They had to pay to get rid of him. So it's kind of a whole lot of money they've spent on Potter. So they went for this safe one, say, okay, let's just have this person to the end of the season and then we bring it. But anyway, it's just like it's going to be kind of difficult unless, and we hope that the new manager gets everything right and everything becomes good. Or else, I mean, fans are really down this time, to be honest.
All right. And for the United game, I think everyone in the chat, nobody want to give it a go. Actually, they don't think we're going to win. Coach, on the football terrace yesterday, Terry said that what is happening at Chelsea is sad and has gone beyond banter now. I think this is the truth. But rival fans, especially Arsenal fans, they don't feel sorry for us. Rival fans are actually starting to feel sorry for us. We are finished. In the case of Terry, I know he has a channel where he covers every game. I think he's obliged to, put out such a statement, or he has to. Otherwise, he'll be alienating some sections of his followers. But it makes sense that a sensible fan will look at it and say, "This is something bad is happening to football overall." If that makes sense. Let's see. We can beat anybody if we want. Um, okay. It all depends on motivation of the team, tactics, and all that. I am looking to get Rashford back. I hope. I hope he's. I think he's going to be ready for that game. I like your positivity, but the days of for the trust and the faith is over. Yeah, this Nagelsmann decision is a continuation of the disastrous decision making we have been seeing. Give him a chance. Give him a chance, bro. I get why you're concerned, and it's a legitimate concern because we suffered long enough. Marcus Ross, okay, okay, good. Amorim has been ruled out. That was a few days ago, actually. Only Nagelsmann, Enrique, and Poch. And Enrique were hearing they're not prioritized. I think the priority right now is Nagelsmann. It's sounding like it's going to become Bali does not want to hire an elite manager. It doesn't fit the model. Nagelsmann is another mistake. Okay, another 9 years of this. Slow down. Make it at least 3. Nagelsmann will fall out with players. He is like Tuchel, but not as pragmatic in playing style. Okay. Wow. We play Sevilla and Brighton, not playing Chelsea yet. Okay, you guys, Manchester United. Don't blame players. The players, they're good. But I see the problem with coach because Chelsea. Okay, yeah, I think I understand that. But big up to you, Dumbo. Thank you for finding the time to join us. I don't know if anybody else want to add, say anything with regards to the Manchester United game, or should we move on to the next game lined up to talk about? And if we see any news pop up, we'll take a break and talk about it. And let's see what we have here. A lot of people, Liverpool trust Man United 7-0. Liverpool, cannot beat us. Some Liverpool cannot beat us. If we are serious, we can beat Manchester United. Football, you cannot script. You cannot script football. I'm sure you're well acquainted with that saying. You cannot script football. 1 + 1 doesn't always equate to 2 when it's football. So let's look at the fixtures again. This one, I think we'll have more information to look at. Chelsea versus Brighton, Brentford, so to speak. Let's look at them. Who do they have out? I really don't know these players. I think they have their main team, main players available. And we already know Kukurea is out. Amanda Brea out to the end of the season. Koulibaly, not Kukurea, out. You said mid-April? Was that late April? So he'll be back. But he's not going to be back for this game. Okay, head to head. 4 wins, 1 win for them. 2 draws. The last 5 games, we beat them 4-0, beat them 1-0, beat them 2-0. They beat us 4-1. I think, I remember that one. And then a 0-0 draw. I don't know whether to think whether Charity FC is still in effect. Let's check their recent form. Okay. They're actually better than us. At least they have 2 draws. We have 1 draw and 4 losses. Roger, what do you make of it? Do you think we'll win in this one? That we have insights in this one. So let's go through the insights. Let's look at the insights. Not too many votes. I'm going to vote that my club wins this one. 52% thinks Chelsea will win this one. 37% thinks Brentford will win. 11% thinks it's a draw. I think it will be a draw. Insights, ranked 15th in goals scored per match, 1 goal per game. That's us. They're ranked 17 goals. So they're actually better than us in terms of goals scored. Ranked 17 goals scored per match, 1.5 goals per match, and haven't won a match in 7 attempts. Okay. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 5 matches. But but they haven't won in 5 matches too. It could be more if I have to look beyond this 5 games. And the last thing we have here have lost their last 4 matches, haven't won a match in 5 attempts. So it's pretty much balanced, but there's nothing, you can't get anything out of here, out of the insights. But Richard, what do you think? Do you think we're winning this one?
No. Do you want me to be honest? That in order for us to win, we need to score goals, yes?
So even though it's pretty much balanced given the stats, sorry, I didn't have it on my
balanced.
screen, and nobody told me.
Coach, I've watched Brentford. I've watched Brentford play. They're a good team. You know, the results are deceiving. They're a good team. They're physical. They have a clinical finisher in Ivan Toney. And I forgot the other gentleman. Usually they play like a 4-4-2. The second striker. They link up very well. They have the ability to score on anybody. Listen, they're above us, and they're above us for a reason. They're a good team. Their goalkeeper's
also
pretty
high octane approach too.
Very much so. I like him.
Approach, yeah.
Yeah, I like Thomas Frank a lot. I believe he's Danish. I always thought he was German, but apparently he's Danish. I think the chap told me last time. Yeah, I didn't know that. Good coach. They're well-oiled, efficient machine based on a limited budget. They're a Brighton 2.0, if you will. They're solid all over the park. Do they have depth? No, that's one thing that they lack, but that's based on their budgetary constraints. On the field, they're physical. This is a London derby. It's a West London derby. And you cannot underestimate the intensity and the physicality with which this game will be performed on. Do not underestimate that. You know, people that are not from London, not from England, you need to understand when Chelsea play a QPR, a Brentford, a Fulham, these teams are not as big as Chelsea, with all due respect, but they play us like it's their FA Cup final, and there is an intensity that is undeniable. I believe Bobby can confirm this. You know, he will attest to this. This is not going to be an easy match. This is
Brentford.
Something else I'm seeing here. I think he go ahead.
So is it Brentford we're talking about?
Yeah, they play us hard. It's a West London derby. It's going to be tough, isn't it?
Something else. Yeah, go ahead, Bobby. When you're done, I'll talk about it.
I've heard a lot and deliberately sort of listened, and over the past few months, especially of the Potter era, we as the fan base have really sort of tried to address and criticize, and the natural responses. I think these last 7 days are going to be a bit different, and I'll explain why. Last 7 games. One, Lampard still has a point to prove, not necessarily to us, but for his managerial career.
Sure.
2, even if he lacks the tactical capability, he does understand the club, the culture, the history, and where it needs to be. And 3, the striking position is there to be cured. In the Champions League, we didn't have access to Detra Fofana, even Aubameyang, whereas these last games we do. And I would fully expect, with 1 week of training that he'll be having from now on in,
true,
that he addresses this. I think these players, rightly, they should be hurt. But if they let their heads drop, it tells me they're not professional. They are part of the rebuild as well as part of the problem. Thiago Silva said very clearly, it's all very well us talking about owners and managers, but the players have a responsibility as well. And yes, their responsibility was that they're not scoring. Now, I can understand you can't do anything about your physicality. It is what it is. But I do expect that when you're put in front of goal with only the goalkeeper to beat, that you beat the goalkeeper. It's like that. You know, football isn't complicated. So, Brentford, away or is it at home?
We're at home.
At home. I think we could do it. I think we could beat them. If you saw the game against Real Madrid, we are not a bad team. It's just we don't finish. We don't finish our dinner. The defense will be stronger. You know, Badiashile will be back. I think we shouldn't be playing Reece James. If he has an injury, he needs to go and get well.
Yes.
So the right back position may be a little bit flimsy, but Aspie is back. Ruben is around. So I think we should go for it. We need to give it a good go. One, to secure our Premiership status, which is all we have left to play for. And two, some players there will be playing for their position in the team. It's that simple. And for those that want to go, they're playing for the market. So there's still some things to play for. And I think, I don't think Brentford will have it all their way. Yes, I know they're a good team, but I think we should be able to beat them. If we play like we can, we'll beat them.
I hope so. Because the last two games we really did struggle against their approach, high octane and close control and everything. I think they were very well drilled. The first one they beat us 4-1, and then it was a 0-0 draw. The second one, that one, we actually, I think Kepa saved us on this one. If I remember quite well, let me see if my memory serves me right. I think Kepa was our best player on the day. Yep, 8.1. Who else? Anybody? Did anybody else come close? 7-1, 7-3, 7-5 as Perqueta. Yeah, they had a lot of chances, but they weren't clinical. Their goalkeeper on the day, man of the match, I think it was also good. And the stats say, let's look at the stats for that particular game of the day. They had an XG of 1.25, an XG of 0.86 for us. Total shots, 8. We have 14 shots. Wow. Big chances, 3 and 1 big chance from there. Yeah, so I think it's been very tight on the last two occasions we played them. Hopefully we see something different this time. AD, what your let me let Isaac speak, and then I'll come to you if you don't mind. Or if you want to speak now, you go ahead.
Hey everybody, what's up?
Isaac,
Hello
big up to you. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. Distancing myself from Chelsea a little bit because it's too much. Don't want to have an attack, Been too much, but still my team, still support the club, no matter what. Just a little bit distance right now, but everybody said good things. Good things I was hearing everybody they say.
Mm-hmm.
What I see in the Chelsea team right now, I personally don't think we're going to win any game. I don't think we're going to win anything this season. I think we made a mistake getting Frank Lampard as a caretaker. That was a big mistake. We should have gone for Luis Enrique was available. We should have taken the good coach to save this season. We should have done that. That was a mistake we made. So that I don't even know. Personally, I don't hate Frank Lampard. He's a club legend, very good player, but not a good coach. We saw at Everton what happened, and the owner they just went to get Frank Lampard after struggling with Everton. So that was a shock for me. It was a shock. From that time, I didn't believe we're gonna win any game. I did not believe. And if you look how we are playing under Frank Lampard, it's worse than Potter. because with Potter, we had a little bit with like we were with the ball a little bit, not much, but a little bit with the ball. With Frank Lampard, it was just everywhere the ball. Until the game we played Madrid yesterday, it was a little bit in the first 10 minutes. We looked like, we are getting into spaces. We look like we're doing something nice, but not finishing our dinner, as everybody was saying, right? We don't finish our dinner, that's a problem. So if you don't finish it again, if you don't finish your dinner, then What's the point of playing the match? I was saying to my friend yesterday, it's better we just give Madrid 3 points. It's better we don't play. It's better we just say, okay, it's fine. It's fine. That game got me upset a lot. I was broken yesterday, because I was hoping maybe somehow, somewhere, maybe we're gonna find the result. It's at the bridge. We know at the bridge when we have seen in the past, like we win against Napoli at the bridge, those days. I was hoping maybe that gonna comes up, but I was wrong. So right now it's total confusion. We don't know where we're going. We don't know, and we don't know what to expect next game against Brentford. We don't know. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
We think, okay, maybe we're gonna get a result. We were thinking the same thing against Real Madrid. Maybe there's something we're gonna get a result. But if we don't change something right now, because we have a lot of players, like we have a second team, we can just change everything. Put Mendy in the goal, change everything in attacking. We have Detro Fofana, we have Aubameyang. The midfield, we can change a little bit over there. Like we can change to a second team and see what happens. Just try. The season is over already, so why not risk it?
Yeah,
What?
but the point is just like Bobby explained. I think he'd be the focus for Frank Lampard would be to salvage, maybe to save his coaching career, because he had the opportunity to do that, which means he will most likely not take too much risk. He will still continue fielding players he believes are the more experienced, are the ones that are going to get results, which he's shown to be the older players, the more experienced of the players. But go ahead if you haven't dropped, so that I can catch up with what we have in the chat.
I think that's it. I think that's it. I'm trying to do a video over here.
Hmm.
So I just came up here and saw you. I haven't seen you in a long time because you
Yeah,
went.
I traveled. I had to travel to Texas.
Yeah, so I just came here to say hi.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. One person in the chat have already joined your channel because I shared your link there.
Yeah.
Always nice to have you whenever time allows. I don't know if you have more time to wait. I appreciate. If not, I understand you're busy. It's clear as Dave Nagelsmann is the one they wanted from the time he was sacked by Bayern. The prop about this selection process is an insult to our intelligence. You have every right to see it like that. There's no way telling what's going on behind the scenes. I want to see things on the surface, and sometimes draw conclusions based on what we hear and read from and in the media. Prioritize the youth for the rest of the season. I doubt I see that happening. Frank Lampard has lost 4 games in a row. I think I saw a statistic showing him losing how many Premier Leagues in total. I think it was more than 10 in total. But from his Everton days till now, how many Premier Leagues he's lost in a row? I think it's more than 10. And you think he'd prioritize giving the youth a chance, except if that's part of the agreement, him becoming the interim manager. If not, he won't risk too much because the more games he lose, the more dent he'd have on his resume as a manager. I don't think he'd be starting these players with that. Let's see what happens. If Nagelsmann was available when they sacked Tuchel, he would have come straight in. Potter was second choice. I think that's a solid argument. This from the Blue TV game says the game against United are always one of cup game. Have you noticed it from that form up? League position and the manager all goes out of the window. 0-0. It may well happen. Let's see. The season is effectively over. It's been over for me 10 years ago. No goals have been achieved. So we just need to focus on what happens in 3 months from now. We have to pay attention to that. Build the players' confidence up, who are the future. That may have been possible had they hired the permanent manager now, let's say, or during the international break, as Roger has always preached. then the managers will say, okay, now let me start trying these guys out. Let me start my preseason. Let me say my preseason starts now. But in Frank Lampard's case, a lot is at stake. His managerial career is at stake. I don't think he will risk too much. Roger, correct. I have watched many Chelsea derby games. Like while I was living in London, Roger's description is spot on. Or I'm more scared of Brentford than Manchester United based on our form. Wow. Some argument right there. Rivals, I think we FA Cup side. This is why we ditch the loan players and anyone who is part of the is it core? And what is that? To balance the books. Let me just skip to something I know fascinating indeed. Let's see, what else do we have here that I have to get? It says Brentford will be a tough game. They play with no fear and have a manager they 100% believe in. That does go along with belief is a strong thing. Kachila, are you comfortable with people gambling with our club? I'm not. Nobody will be. If you truly do care about the club, you won't be okay with that. And the truth remains, it's a concerning situation. There you go. I think I found the statistic I'm looking for. I wish I could highlight this. It said Lampard's numbers in the last 17 Premier League Everton and Chelsea, one win in 17 attempts, 2 draws, 15 losses, 11 goals scored, 33 goals conceded, 6% win rate. Meanwhile, Chelsea had to face Real Madrid up. Okay, that's before the game. So now it will probably the win rate would start probably be if you add the Champions League, probably be low. So yeah, it is concerning. But in the Premier League overall, it is 17 matches, 1 win in 17 matches, 2 draws, 15 losses, 11 goals scored, 33 goals conceded. I feel like throwing up, really. And the so-called numbers owners, I have a problem with that. Them not looking at that, but I can't change anything. So are we a striker and a goalkeeper away from fixing our problem? Those two will fix it to a certain extent. I think we need a traditional DM, if you ask me, and we need tens. We have tens, but our tens, they're not the best in terms of creating chances. We need an 8, at least an 8. Let me say a central midfielder that's capable of producing more chances. I know Enzo can do that, to create clear-cut chances from the central area of the pitch, and also produce double digits in terms of assist numbers by the end of the season, and goals too, and perform consistently. So, yeah.
Good. You know, people are talking about being afraid of Brentford and so on, and I see it and I understand why. But the only reason Chelsea are mainly afraid of these sort of teams is because of physicality. They outbattle us. And this is the whole thing. I mean, we see that. We see where the problem is. If we become physical, we will be able to handle these teams quite well. It's just outbattling. Against Man United, I mean, I picture that would be, you have to be up for that as we were up for Real Madrid. There's no excuse now. There's no reason why they cannot go on a decent run to the end of the season to see off the season well.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not going to do that. The Bluetooth play the academy. A lot of them up another level. That is there for you to see. They play a bit differently than they did on the Graham Potter. It was if I was a coach and I'm playing Chelsea, I would confidently play my goalkeeper as a forward. Oh my goodness, Chelsea will not score. That's something so right there. If Lampard were going to continue coaching Chelsea, Chelsea are going down 16 to number 17. That numbers I just read out to you guys isn't reassuring. If anything, it makes you to become even more concerned. Blue says we are one of. Okay, let's see what else we have here. And the rotational goalie still the Zebi is a more class manager. I think he's an excellent manager, but I still wouldn't say we'll go for him. He's going to be in for a surprise. Let's see what else we have here that I have. Thank you for joining Isaac's channel. I appreciate that. So after more process, we're down to Poch and Nuggesman, and we should like this gamble. We're cooked. Here's the thing. I get it. We've had issues. I can't just come out and say certainly we're failing because we're hiring Nuggesman. I liked him as a manager. Hopefully he does well. That's all I can say for now. We're not in a good place. That's certainly that's there for everyone to see. No denying that. In Lampard early years, it was predicted he would not succeed as a player. Harry Redknapp told people he can bet he will succeed, and he did. I hope he's able to do the same as a manager. Well,
Can I ask a question?
In the case of,
can I ask
go
a
ahead.
question? You know, there's a lot of negativity around Nagelsmann, and I'm beginning to wonder why. I mean, what, apart from his age, are people so skeptical about? This is a club that has had some of its greatest successes with player managers. You can't get any more basic and close to players than that. We had Glenn Hoddle as a player manager. We had Vialli as a player manager. At one time, Ruud Gullit as a player manager. We've had ex-players graduate as managers, Lampard being one. So I'm not sure what the issue is. I know that we are talking about having an elite manager, and I get it, and I think we need that. But this is a long-term project, and it's very hard to have an elite manager that can do the long-term thing with a young squad. And I would like to hitch my bets on the directorship. You know, people are talking about Red Bull and whatever that, but you know, they aren't all from Red Bull. You know, Vivalli is okay, Winstanley is not, and neither is Stewart. Stewart is from Monaco, Winstanley is from Brighton, and it's only Vival that's a Red Bull person. So I'm not sure. If they choose him, it was their job. They're doing their job. And I think we have to go with it with optimism, unless he shows otherwise. I mean, it would be a disaster if he shows otherwise. That's why they're doing due diligence at the moment. So I think fans should chill a bit. You know, sometimes we get a bit too critical, and the criticism doesn't seem to have any basis.
Yeah, if we're lucky, we will get the point we need against Bournemouth. Forest are fighting for their lives, so we're getting nothing from that game. We will get slapped by the rest of the team. Let's see what happens. The game hasn't been played. Big up Thiago Silva for calling a spade is spade. He spoke out, then did a draw even more bold statement. Let's see what we have here. Says you will beat Bournemouth. Okay, I hope so. Bolly will ask his personal friend what manager we should. Okay, if that's what he does, that's up to him. I'm going to skip quite a lot. There's a lot of stuff here. Yep, let's see. If I were you, my friend Lalo, big up to you. I appreciate you again. I cannot thank you enough for becoming a member, and soon you will be reaping the benefits. I can promise you that. But I appreciate you. And you supported Chelsea yesterday, even though you're a Barcelona fan. And you become a member even though you're a Barcelona fan. But I owe you a lot. If I were you, I'd compete for the Premier at any cost next season. Like I said, that's what was the reason why I suggested we put aside the project and stabilize the ship by competing. I think we should. We don't have any European assignments. Engagements, maybe. Good stuff, my brother. Nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Thank you so much. Always nice to see you. And you changed your name, the name of your channel to Isaac Football Club. I think I like that one too. Got to run, coach. See you next time, brother. Much love to you. And thank you for subscribing to Isaac's channel. He's a good content creator. He's not elite. Let's see. If they wanted Nagelsmann, why the waste of time? Panda says this club is a mess. Every platform is talking about us like we are officially falling from grace. You can say we're falling from grace. We'd have to show we haven't fallen from grace for people to think otherwise. I agree. Every football club platform on social media and beyond is talking about us like we are a parody and joke. And yeah, again, we'll find ourselves in a situation where it's easy to make fun of us. Good day up to just see you next time. All sports fan Adam, I appreciate you. 2-year contract max for any manager, subject to extension if he works out. Roger, do you want to talk? Have you spoken about the Brentford game? Okay, you have.
Yeah.
Okay, Hey, do you want to speak about the Brentford game?
A lot has been said about the game. The only thing I just want to add is that the only advantage we have going into the game is that we have 1 week to prepare, and they have less because they have a game on Saturday. That's the only thing I think. The only advantage we might be thinking, and then Lampard will have more players like Badiashile, Datro, Fofana, and Aubameyang and all to choose from. So, so that's just one of the things. And then, just as been said by others as well, that he's back to put himself in the shopping window. Like he has to bring back his career. He has his career come back for him because it's not a permanent job for him. So he needs to put himself there for reckoning. So I think he's going to give his all to the end of the season
Which
to make
means
sure
younger players won't get much time.
that's it might happen. That might be the case because for him to get results, he will want to trust the older hands. Like so, that's disadvantage for the younger players, unfortunately, because he will really want to get back on track to just make sure he corrects most of these things that have been. I mean, losing 4 in a row is not good for him. Like, and so he will want to put that right, and by doing so, it might be at the detriment of the younger players. So because he needs results, that's all he wants. And the only thing I think that will cool the hearts and make us happy is if the game coming up against Arsenal, if it's in our hand to stop them from winning, that will really, really cheer up the fans. I think so, though.
Thank you so much.
I think a lot of the older players have already let him down. And what Lampard is looking for is battling players. That's why he plays the likes of Gallagher a lot. So I don't think the younger players have anything to worry about. Fofana is the one I don't understand, Detro Fofana. But anywhere else in the pitch, it's up for grabs, honestly, especially midfield. But then midfield is full of mature players anyway. So if we're talking younger players, we're just looking at strikers. And being specific, the question is, will he use Detro Fofana? I think he has to.
I, I hope he does, but like we all know, if he chooses them, if he selects that to Fofana, then he must have thought about it and feel like these are the players that are going to help me get the result. But the truth is, he will prioritize players who he believes will help him get the result because losing 4. I read it. Out of 17 Premier League game matches, he won just one, drew 2, lost 15. Scored 11 goals and conceded 33 goals, 6% win rate in the Premier League overall. He wouldn't want to see that get worse. But that's by the way, I'm going to come to you Roger, to round off with you. The question I want to ask, you have always clamored that, talked about that. Our biggest problem is that we're not putting away chances. Let's round off with this question. Do you see us sorting that out and winning at least? Let me just start with saying at least 2 games, but at the season ends. Yeah.
It depends on how pragmatic Frank or whomever coaches, how they approach the game. Depends on the personnel they use also. Do we go with new players or do we stick with the players now? And do they gel over time? You never know. As I discussed before, it just takes one goal for the floodgates to open, perhaps. We could put 5 past Brentford or whomever. It doesn't matter. You've seen that often where teams struggle and all of a sudden, wham, you get several players getting hat tricks. It's a funny game and it's not a science. But just based on the whole season, if you extrapolate that over time, that's enough data, I believe. 15 out of the last 25 games. 25 games is a long enough stretch. And 15 out of those 25, we haven't scored a single goal. So 16, you can basically say 16 because one was deflected. So it's possible. You know,
The
people
numbers
go,
are damning, really.
yeah, the data is damning. It really is. I'm being objective here, as if I'm looking at another team. You know, I'm just being objective. That's all you
You're
can
being
be.
subjective.
Yeah, you have to be. The one thing is, though, these players are trying. They haven't given up. And the quality of the passing is poor. Also, when I say pass, I mean crossing, the corners. And
You can say the final passes.
Yeah. So exactly, the final passes. It wasn't just from the corners. It was from our free kicks also, if you notice. They were pretty poor. So that has to come and improve. That probably have to settle on a formation and stick to it and stick to an 11. I would like to see, well, injuries aside, right? We're going to be playing one game every 7 days, give or take. So you'd like to see some continuity, 10 or 11 out of the players play, you know, and injuries aside. And let's see what he can do. Maybe start the veterans, maybe start the younger players, whomever. Whatever direction he goes in, stick with it. Stick with a philosophy, choose a philosophy, regardless of what his philosophy is, and stick with it and see where the goals can come. And if by the end of the season, we still are in the same boat where we only score 1 or 2 goals a maximum in the next 6-7 games, then what does that tell you? You know, is Broja the answer? Is Datra Fofana the answer? Is Lukaku the answer? I'm being honest here. I'm not joking. No facetiousness. They may very well be. They may not be. We may need to go and spend, as Bobby said, over 100 million. This is the price. When we paid 30 or 32 million for Kante so many years ago, I thought that was exorbitant. Now you get a backup tea lady for 32 million. It's just the inflation, that the prices of players are astronomical. And it looks like we're going to have to pay a substantial amount of money for a proven scorer. Look, for instance, this year, had we had, let's say, a Harry Kane, for instance, he would have got 20 plus goals for us. I'm pretty sure of it. You know,
And actually more assists too.
With that too. I'm just saying that the person of his own, like an Ivan Toney, who I would love for Chelsea to play, for him to play for Chelsea. Had he played for us this season, I know the underlying issues that come with him currently, but I'm just saying hypothetically, we don't have that proven striker. Listen, I rate Kai a lot, but he's a number 2. He's a number 10. He's a second striker, like he does for Germany. He's a very talented, very technical player, but he's being played out of position, and you can't blame him for that. Until this is rectified, you know, to be honest and to be objective, to be open-minded, I'm not being negative, I'm just being honest. We need to start scoring. And I'm not talking about deflections or own goals. I'm not talking about a goalkeeper, you know, making an error. We're talking about actual, technically, clinically scoring. Fundamental. Frank has to go back to the fundamentals, instill a philosophy, whatever it is, a back 4, a back 3, whatever, 4-3-3, 4-2-3, or whatever he wants to do, and stick
just
with it.
Simplify things.
Yes, and go back to the basics and choose the players and be consistent, and let's see what transpires.
Yeah.
And then
thank you so much. Yeah.
And then see what the new manager sees from that, and can extrapolate data from that, and look at stuff and go from there. Until these issues are addressed, you know, Chelsea will languish in mediocrity, and that's what, for all intents and purposes, Chelsea are currently.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know if anybody else has something else to add. If not, we're out of time. 35.
Sorry,
5 minutes ago. Yeah. No, but you're fine, brother. Well, thank you. I was, Roger. I don't know what we could have done without your knowledge of the numbers of how badly we've done in front of goal. I think it's been refreshing to listen to you talk about it. Do you have a spreadsheet? Do you have a spreadsheet in front of you, if I may ask?
I have multiple been. So right now, just to let you know, Sterling is 35.29% in his dribbling success. He is 30
I know
out of
you're
85.
keeping record of that too.
Yeah, I just updated it this morning. So
Yeah, thank
sad.
you. It's been an excellent discussion. I think we'll be watching what's going on out there and mixing up the news and also discussing the remaining of the games. I think from we've talked about how many matches. I think two in total. Yeah, just two. The Manchester United game and then the Brentford game. Majority don't think we're getting a result out of that. Let's see what happens. But it's important we look at them. The good thing about the Brentford one, I think we're pretty even. You could say they're in a better form than us because they got at least two draws and they're ahead of us in the on the table, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's been an excellent show. Thanks, so AD Love for Blue. Thank you, AD. I appreciate all the updates. You don't know how far I've made lots of YouTube shots with most of them. Some of them I just maybe I just read and use it to produce something. But I appreciate that, Roger. Thank you so much. You were excellent yesterday as the host, and I can't thank you enough. Bobby, thank you so much as always, and everyone that's in the chat. Let me see if there's anything to read. Okay, I've read that one already. I pray that Levy gives Nagelsmann an offer he cannot refuse, and we get stuck with Enrique. I hope that happens. We've been based on the Potter after taking breaks. I hope Lampard utilizes the 1 week break. I hope so. Charlie Bolly is scouting Lampard and Potter 2.0. Hence, why they're not appointing a new manager. I think with that, people is I don't. ASMR with Roger. Roger, do you see that on the screen? Do you understand what that means? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I do. That's funny. Very funny.
Big up to you, Glenn. Big up to Keshawn. Big up to the beautiful game, Roger. What's this backup tea lady sexy, please? Since you have the numbers of everybody, he wants to know that one.
That's bloody funny.
Spam the chat, I beg. Nagelsmann to Spurs. I hope that happens. Any gaffer that has to cooperate with them, Bombs, Bali, and Igabali are set up for failure. I hope that's not the case. Lampard is embarrassing us. I'm not going to blame Lampard. Honestly, I've said that before. Chelsea all the way, Panda, Patrick, a lot of people who says we've been, but yeah, I think I've read that one. The beautiful game, I've read that. Douglas and Dumbo, all sports fans, and my bro, Isaac Man Football, and my good friend, Lolo, Santiago Munez, Lacasine, everyone else. Thank you so much. I hope to see you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.
Thanks, Coach.
More thanks to you, brother. Thank you, Eddie.
Hi, Eddie.
Bye, Roger.